Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Yeah, we got liftoff once again. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. This is episode 21. I'm sitting here with my homeboy Mark. You know what? I know how to spell your last name. I've never said it out loud, and I just realized that I would probably butcher the fuck out of
That's
it.
all good. Civitarese.
All right, yeah.
Pretty much why I went by Mark Unseen for so many years.
Yeah. Because I think I would have said Civitarese or something like that. But all right, there we go. But yeah, Mark was in the Unseen. He was in Tenebrae, and I'm sure a plethora of other bands, as we all have been, and a Boston punk. Rock, staple of the scene here in the Boston, Massachusetts area. But yeah, man, it's sweltering. We're sitting it's a sweltering, hot, humid day. I can't run the air conditioners in Chopperhead because it will pick up and sound weird. It'll sound like we're broadcasting live from the mothership, hovering above the earth. So we don't want to. We don't want to fool anyone or spark any controversy, so we're just going to deal with it.
All right. I'm used to the heat. I work outside.
Yeah. We both just worked a full day, and now we're drinking vodka and Gatorades and trying to hydrate and get better and have an interesting conversation today. So what's going on, man? How you been?
Good. I've basically just been slammed with work. Even when all this shit with COVID started. I didn't know if it was going to affect my job because I work outdoors. I own a landscaping company. And it pretty much started, like, all this shit started right when my work starts for the most part for the season. And it started off and it was, like, full throttle. Like, it didn't affect me at all. I lost, like, 2 or 3 customers that were, like, my age or maybe a little younger. But everybody else either is retired and wanted me to be working, or they just got their stimulus money or whatever and wanted to spend it on something. So
sure.
So luckily, I've been working, through all this stuff. So
now the customers you lost, is it because now they were home and they could do their own?
I think so. It's probably a combination of them being home and having nothing to do, or they literally may just have not been able to afford it. So
yeah. But
again, I was like, I have over 150 customers. I lost 2, and I ended up gaining like 20 new ones. So it's
a good trade-off.
Right.
So yeah, man, I mean, it's same here with the bike shop. Like, winter is our slow time, and then COVID hit coming right out of winter. So it was like a double blast, you know what I mean? Like a hook and a jab, right. Or a jab and a hook, I mean. And then, it was slow at first because I think people didn't know what was going on. Like, like I know lawns and shit, like people want to take care of that no matter what. But for us, like a motorcycle for most people isn't like a...
Right, here you're saying, so you didn't know if they were going to have the money to come in or if they were just going to be afraid to come in.
Yeah, so it was a little slow at the start. And then as soon as it started... And then plus we had a real like kind of crazy spring. It was like it was pretty rainy and the weather was all over the place. But then as soon as the weather broke and it got nice, like the floodgates just opened and it's fucking insanity.
Right.
But yeah, man. So what got you into the landscaping kind of business?
I've been doing it off and on since I was a kid. My older brother had a company. And everyone's like, great, you guys can talk about bikes and mowing lawns. But no. My brother had a landscaping company. And so in like junior high and high school, I'd work for him. And then once I started playing music and especially touring, it's really fucking hard to tour, come home, pay your bills, and go back on tour. Luckily, I had a brother and actually a cousin who both owned landscaping companies. So whenever I was home, if I was home for 2 months or 1 month, I always had work with one of them. So it's something I just did. Yeah. And, for years. And then when I kind of stopped touring around, I don't know, like 2010, I think, or is like kind of when we really stopped touring. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I've been traveling for the last like 15 years, living in a van and doing landscaping off and on, and making a living playing music, which I'm super fucking grateful for. I mean, it was hard, but we were able to pay bills and stuff, and but when we kind of stopped doing that, I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I didn't go to college, I didn't give a fuck about school, so I was like, well, I went back to landscape and working for one of my family members, and then after a little bit, I'm like, I can just do this. Like, I'm the one that's being sent out to do the work anyways, by myself or with one other person. So all I need to do is get some equipment, do it myself. And if I mow X amount of lawns a day, like 5 lawns a day, I'm going to make more than I would have made working 8 hours with somebody else. Granted, I have to deal with all the responsibilities, but so I just did that. And then from there, it just took off. So I've been doing that for like my own company now for like 8 or 9 years. So
that's cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
better than working for somebody else.
Yeah. And I think that's something that, yeah, I know this is a motorcycle and punk rock podcast. So, but it's just fucking about life, dude. So it don't fucking matter. But I think it doesn't matter whatever the business is. I just find that a lot of my friends that have been involved in the punk scene, I think there's such a DIY ethic involved in it that a lot of people end up doing some kind of business, whether it's their full-time livelihood or at least a part-time thing. Everyone seems to own something or start something and do something for themselves. So,
and I learned the business aspect. Like, I was the guy in the band that did most of the business.
Yeah.
Helping, like, routing the tours, dealing with the record labels, like all that stuff. And on tour doing like almost like the tour managing, like, dealing with the money and all that. So I had some knowledge of business from the band. So I used, all right, well, it's not rocket science to mow a fucking lawn, but I took like my work ethic along with the shit I learned, from like booking agents and clubs and promoters and kind of put it all together to do that.
Yeah, no, fuck yeah, man. That's right. I mean, the same thing. Like, I never went to business school, you know what I mean? I went to school for anthropology, you know what I mean? But I never went to business school or any of that shit. And sometimes it shows when you're running a business like this. It's fucking crazy. There's so many moving parts. And I think that's what some people don't realize is that they see like a lot of people think, oh, you own your own business. That must be awesome. You can just chill and make money and this and that. And I'm like,
not much chilling.
No, there's not much. You are responsible for everything. And it's like, I tell people there's no better joy. I don't know. Like, there's no better way to, there's obviously always better ways. But for me, I tried, doing, and I worked for hospitals and I did all the anthropology stuff for years, but I had to do work for myself. Like, I just can't function in regular society that much, you know what I mean? And so, running the bike shop, the tattoo shop and whatever it's just been cool. Like, it's not as lucrative, or not as, it's not as lucrative as just being, and you can't just tune out. Like, when I worked for a place, and you put in your 40 hours a week or whatever, and you're done, like,
right. Yeah, there's
no 40-hour work weeks when you own a business.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Unless the business is so successful that you have layers of people working for you that handle everything, and you just kind of have, kind of do the overarching, I don't know, just the direction of things or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of boring shit and minutia of like, bookkeeping and accounting and dealing with that shit that sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
it's rewarding though, not, knowing you can do what you want to do for the most part. If you really don't want to do a certain job, you can be like, fuck it, I'm not doing that. Or if you don't want to deal with a certain person, after a while, you can just be like, nah, I'm all set. Yeah. So that's the cool part about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, I don't know, there's something to be said about making your own way through life. Even if it's a business, like I know people that are in businesses that were just kind of like, I don't know, you wouldn't think that would be the business they're in, and they do well in it and whatnot. But just the fact that you got no one to answer to except for yourself, or you're not accountable to anyone except for yourself. I don't know. There's just something for that, man. There's just something behind that where it's like fucking cool, dude. Like it's funny because it's like we were just talking earlier. It's like, yeah, man, like it'd be nice to take a day off, but there's no option to even do that. But if you did, You know, there's not going to be anyone there to fire you. You know what I mean?
True.
but,
true.
But you know, then you don't have any income that day, and then,
Exactly.
or you piss off a client or whatever, and so you are a little bit accountable, but to yourself. But it's different when you're building something for yourself, I think. And you know, I don't know. You know, a motorcycle shop is a pretty fucking stupid business to be in New England, but. You know, I didn't, you know, the effort I put into this, if I put it into something that was more fucking mainstream and regular, like I could be pretty well off, but I don't know.
Right. Well, you look like you're busy.
Call me a dummy. I just love this shit. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, whatever. But yeah, man. So, tell me a little bit. I mean, the Unseen was like a big force in like punk rock in like the 2000s and stuff, like, you know, and are you guys still, I know you still do some shows here and there. Are you guys still like fairly active, or like what's going on with you guys right now?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we never broke up or anything. It was just basically we started in like 93, 94, I think. And, you know, did local shit, and, you know, we'd always go to like Jersey, Philly, Pittsburgh, stuff like that, Baltimore all the time. And then kind of like after we were like, we graduated, we started trying to be like, oh, let's go on tour, stuff like that. And we did, and it took off, and we did it, like I said, nonstop for like probably like 15 years of like full time. It was a couple years before being a full-time band, and then we did it, and then it's just like, it's just stressful. You know, I mean, that's a hard fucking job. It's, you know, we were at that level where we would draw almost anywhere we went. You know, sometimes it might only be 50 kids, but still it's 50 kids. Yeah. Other cities we'd go to would be like 1,500, and, you know, so it all depends. And
it just depends on the market.
Exactly. The market, the day of the week, all that stuff. And we just basically burnt ourselves out, you know, to be honest. It was just, we never stopped, because when you were home, you didn't make money. You know, we were always trying to see if we could get a little bit bigger, try the next thing. And so, I mean, we could talk more about all that, but going back to your original question, yeah, we are still a band. We basically stopped touring in like, I want to say 2009 or 2010. I think our last record came out in, I think like 2009, I think. And from there we just like, let's take a break, you know, like just kind of chill. And we were all pretty much fed up with each other just from being around each other nonstop in a van or a small bus or whatever for so long. So, pretty much any band goes through that. But you know, we took some time off, and then luckily we were a band that people liked and still do, so we get offers, and a lot of offers I just turned down just because of timing, whether like something personally going on in my life with my company, or like I'll know that one of the guys is having a kid, or somebody's building a house or whatever, so I won't even like bring it up. Sometimes I'm like, you know, we're not gonna be able to do that, or it's just not worth it, you know, for us to, you know, somebody will fly us up to California to play, which is awesome, amazing, you know. But at the same time, it's like, well, we're going to lose this much money from work, and we have bills to pay at home. So if you can fly us out there, give us this much money, give us gear and et cetera, we're in, you know, like, but otherwise we can't do it.
Yeah. And it's not being like a dick, like pompous move. It's literally like, this is what it would take for us to be able
when we were
to
kids,
do it.
Though, if we just said no, then we were dicks. You know?
Absolutely. I tell this everybody I think we talked to on the show. It's way different being in a band when you're 18 versus like 38, 40, in your 40s or whatever. Like, it's a whole different game, dude. Like, absolutely.
But it's cool with us because we never really broke up. We put out a bunch of records, toured with so many bands. I you know, played with so many bands that I idolized growing up with, and again, lucky enough that you know, people still paint us on their leather jacket, or, you know, wear our t-shirts or whatever. And so we get booked to play festivals a lot of times, and it's, you know, it's a blast. I get to go meet up with dudes I've been in a band with for half of my life, because me and the guitar player Scott and the bass player Trip are like original members. We started the band together, and our other guitar player Johnny's been with us for like 15 or 16 years now.
Yeah.
And our drummer's been with us now probably 4 or 5 years. So it's cool. We get together and it's like we talk about shit that we did when we were little kids, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's a good time. And it's a lot more enjoyable seeing them a couple times a year than being stuck in a truck with them for 3 months at a time.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, being like brushed up against someone for any amount of time for, of course, you know what I mean? There's going to be, interpersonal issues there. Like, you know what I mean? When you're in that close proximity with people for months at a time.
We're talking about actually just the other day, like for years I've been like, we should come up with a couple songs. I know we can do it. Like, why not? And the bass player Trip hit me up the other day. He's like, we should write something with all the shit going on in the world and this and that. Like, let's just come up with a couple songs and put out a 7-inch. Like, and I'm like, yeah, who the fuck wants to put out a full length at this point? No one's going to buy it. No one's really buying them. And who wants to hear a band that's put out 5 or 6 records? You don't want a whole new album. Like, I don't, if I go see Danzig, I don't want to hear his new album, like 1 or 2 cuts maybe, but you know what I'm saying? So,
oh, you don't want to hear the Danzig sings Elvis record?
So
yeah,
that's funny. But yeah, we're talking about trying to write, but it's just tough because our guitar player who writes a lot of the music, he lives in Denver and he's not like computer savvy. So we're talking about trying to get together sometime. And cause the best way for us, the way we've always written as a band is like, everyone comes up with some ideas. We get in a room together. Like, okay, that sucks. That's cool. Record this and make that tube more longer and shorten that down, put a breakdown in it.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we're going to try to get together sometime in the next, month or two for a couple days, hammer out a couple songs and, and record something, just 7-inch or whatever.
Sure.
Either put it out ourselves or find someone, put it online.
Yeah, man.
But it will be fun because it's, for us, it started as fun and then it turned into a job.
Yeah.
And I do have some regrets with everything I did. It's a weird way to say like some regrets. I regret the fact that it turned into a job. You know what I mean? Like I love the fact that I got to do it and I got to travel the world and meet awesome people. But there's some times where I was like, oh fuck, we kind of have to do that because this is our job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, we never like changed what we were about or, but there was a few things we did where we're like, we're still us, we're doing this, but we got to do it. We need that $500 or whatever, or maybe we'll convert some of these people into fans of us by doing this. So
yeah. So you just play some shows that you might not normally play.
But now it's like just a hobby again. So it's like we play shows now and like I was the guy that did most of the business or whatever. There's been shows we played in the last few years. We'd show up to a festival and everyone would be like, merch, and I'd be like, we got like 5 CDs and 10 shirts, like whatever. Like I didn't fucking make merch. Like for what?
Yeah,
to have a box in my basement for the next 4 years.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Is it's like, it's hard to gauge how much merch to make, right? And then you got to bring it with you, and then like unless you're playing someplace in Europe where like some festivals or something where you could have someone out there do it and make it whatever. It turns into a hassle, man. I got like. For example, like War Machine, right? Mm-hmm. We have not played one show since the fucking album came out, right?
Oh, shit.
It's fucking ridiculous, dude. So ridiculous. We have not played one show since the album came out. I think we have not played one show.
I don't think so. You guys we did that show in Boston.
Yeah.
Unseen in at Middle East.
Yeah.
That was probably 3 years ago or something. I don't know. I think your record wasn't out yet. I don't think.
No, the 7-inch was, I think that was it. So, we've only played a handful of shows and it's just, I mean, life gets in the way.
Yeah.
We're in our 40s. Like, yeah.
Craig's always gone and
Agnostic
Hacker's
Front
gone a lot. And
like Agnostic Front played like 260 dates or something last year, so, and then Slapshot, then when Craig left Slapshot was only doing AF full time, that allowed AF to do a bunch of shit, and then Slapshot was super active because they could
got
do
more
shit.
active. Yep.
And then so it just is what it is. It's like we're not like, oh, fuck it, we don't care. It's literally, there's not been a chance. And then, I run 2 businesses and fucking whatever, so it's hard, like we wanted to, we want to, like, you know what I mean? And we still will. It's just, and now there's just no shows anyway, so it's not our fault anymore. 2020 is not our fault. We were supposed to do some shit. But that aside, I know what you're saying. I've never been in a band where it became a business, like in the sense of like that was full-time gig, so it's always just been fun and therapeutic for me, and like to me that's what it is.
Right, and that's what it is again for me, and now I love it. Like the last like 6 or 7 years, like shows we play like 2 or 3 shows a year, and it's just I show up, I see my friends, I see other people that I've known forever, and it's just fun again. It's like when I was a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like going to the Rat and just borrowing somebody's fucking drums and not bringing anything with us. We're like, yeah, whatever, it's punk rock.
Yeah, man. And it's cool that you guys could have could make a living for that long off punk rock, because there's not a lot of bands that can do that. So that's like a testament.
we went fucking everywhere to do it. I mean, Australia, Japan, we did a full Canada tour. I don't think many bands do that. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But we got to that point, like all the older hardcore bands, going to Europe like 3 or 4 times a year, and shows there are awesome. So, no regrets there. But yeah, it's just we were lucky, but we also worked our asses off. In order to make it happen. It wasn't like someone was just like, here you go, like handing us shit,
No. And that's the only way to do it if you want to be in a band. And I mean, obviously there's some, we won't talk about the cases of like fluke where just some kids get together, make a record or something, and it just goes big quick. Like, there's always like fluke cases like that. But by and large, you don't make a living off doing music unless you are putting in the work, which means steady touring, especially nowadays where, you can't count on record sales. You know what I mean? Like it's all like streams, dude. Yeah, it's all streams.
I wouldn't even know how to do like what record deals are like now. I remember like this is probably even longer, like 8-9 years ago, talking to some bands that were signing deals, and their new album deals were like, oh, we're signing you for like 3 records and like 70% of like your merch, and you have to give us this many designs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's mind blowing, But
like merch used
from a business standpoint, I get it, I guess. Like, maybe the percentage is off, but labels saying like, oh, we have to manufacture your merchandise. You can't go through other people because we need to. Yeah, you're basically ours. Where
Yeah. So I don't think, unless you're at a certain level, I don't really think there's all that much benefit to being on a label anymore.
No,
Now, that said, like for American War Machine, like Bridge 9 and Chris is a fucking awesome dude. It makes 100% sense. You know what I mean? But if you're going to be a full-time touring band, like in the sense of like 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, like, labels, like I'm talking about major label shit. There's not really much they can offer you anymore like that. You can't really do yourself.
If you have any like sort of like popularity, it's almost like what's the point? Take the money yourself. Like the Bouncing Souls seem to do that. Like they put out like, the last few records, I think, on their own, and, say like somebody's got to put some work into it. That's the only problem. But like, so like, let's say if like a band like the Unseen wanted to put out another record, if a couple of us were willing to put in the work to like, contact, certain things for promo, this and that, like you wouldn't need a label. It's like you got social media, you have X amount of people that like your band.
Yeah.
So
they're going to be checking for it
press
anyway.
a couple thousand copies and sell them. And if they sell, you make some more.
Yeah. And then just put it online and
right.
You know what I mean?
Because I don't think labels are really offering tour support anymore. I don't think. We were lucky. We got, tour support and we got advances, from labels.
But the 90s, 2000s, 2000 meaning 2000 to 2010 are this total different times than now.
Yeah. I wouldn't know exactly how it works now, but I'm assuming they're not, they, labels were handing us like 20, 30 grand
to record,
and we would record at the Outpost in Stoughton, which that's where like Blood for Blood did all their records, Death Before Dishonor, Dropkick Murphys, Disasters. A lot of bands recorded there. Darkbuster. And that guy's fucking amazing. So you'd pay not a lot of money to have something that sounds awesome, and we would be able to use the rest of the money to make merch for tour, or spend $5,000 fixing our vehicle that we needed for tour, stuff like that. So, but now I don't think labels are really doing that anymore.
No, I mean, I'm sure for certain artists or something could pull that off, like, but not. It's not like it was,
right?
But it's like you said, you guys could put out something. You wouldn't even have to press. You could press like 500 limited fucking vinyl 7 inches and get rid of them like super fast,
right?
And then just put it on like all the download or like that. I don't know what the crazy kids are listening to. I still like to have physical things. Like I don't know. I know, but like there's. I don't even think. I think it's so far now. Like I don't even think like Apple counts anymore. Like I don't think anyone's like buying digital copies of records anymore. I think everyone just fucking streams everything on like Pandora or Spotify or something like that, or wherever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I heard a weird thing once. I don't know. I can't even remember where I heard this, and I think I brought it up in the podcast before, where it kind of makes sense. Where if you sold a physical record, you sell it once, and then someone can listen to it 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. But streams, you get paid every single time that it's listened to. You get paid a fraction of a penny, but if it builds up enough,
if enough people listen to it, then
or if someone listens to it 500 times, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. So hopefully it all washes out in the end. And I think there is some stuff going through to kind of reform it so that bands get a little bit better of a share.
I know some people pay better than others. Like from what I hear, Spotify doesn't pay shit.
Yeah.
We did a couple records on BYO Records, and none of the 2 albums we did on BYO aren't on Spotify. And I have kids all the time being like, why isn't this album on Spotify? And I'm like, and then I found out it's because the Stern brothers are just like, they don't pay shit. Like, fuck that. Like, they're going to take all the money for the artist. Like, no.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, at this point, it's like, I don't give a fuck. If someone wants to hear the song, they're going to hear it. I mean, like, our stuff's on YouTube, and by the time it trickles down to anything we make, it's nothing. It's like the label gets X amount, and YouTube takes X amount, and
and there's like 4 hands that are. That's how it is with anything, dude. Like, if I sell like something on eBay, eBay gets a cut, PayPal gets a cut. Now eBay collects taxes on shit, and then at the end, I'm lucky if I make like a 5%.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I was selling crap on eBay like. Actually, last year and the year before in the winter when I'm slow, just to like clean my basement out.
Yeah. I've seen plenty of your CD packages or your T-shirt packages, and it's like there's always like, man, there's like always like one thing that doesn't quite fit, but it's real cool.
Right? I'm like, well, I got to get rid of this. So stick it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I get like a $10.99 from like PayPal. I'm like, what the fuck?
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Fuck. Anything over like $500 is like, they'll send you PayPal will send you like a $10.99 if you don't download it and claim it, whatever. But I mean, technically you could get audited for it. So it's like, I just printed it out. It's like, whatever. It's like $1,200 or whatever. And so I paid taxes on it.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Like, who are they to do that? Like, because technically, if you're just selling shit you have around your house,
it's like a yard sale.
It's like, I was just going to say, it's like a fucking yard sale. Who are they to say, oh, you're a business? Like, and make $500 a cutoff. Like, dude, you could sell a couch and make more than $500 and be like, I'm not a fucking business, motherfuckers. Like, like, why are you 1090? Well, they're covering their own ass. They're not making millions and billions of dollars because you're dummies. Like, you know what I mean? But like, they're making an essential thing. Like, you have to, there's so much of a monopoly with PayPal that, and I think, doesn't eBay own PayPal, which is fucking, I think.
I don't know. They might.
I believe so. So it's like they're just double dipping. Like they're like, oh, we'll get you on the payment side. We'll get you on the listing side. And, and that's just one of my things that like it just gets so annoying. And I'm sure it's like this with your business. Like there's so many hands in the till. I'm like, how many motherfuckers do I have to pay before I can make a penny?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Especially having like a place like we have here a showroom. So just the insurances are crazy. I got like 4 different insurance policies. Like, you know, like literally, like I got one on the building, I got one on the business, I got one on the, we have a dealer plate so that we can test ride bikes,
right.
you know, and then just, you know, the shop van.
Yeah,
and this
people
and
don't
that.
get that shit when they're paying for something. They don't understand like what you got to pay to make all this happen.
And it's not cheap, you know. So some of them $3,000-$4,000 a year, you know, on top of everything else. And it's like, you know, fuck, dude. Like, you know, this is before taxes, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. Like, there's corporate tax, excise tax, this tax, that tax, that fucking tax, corporate filing fees, and this and that. And it's like, what the fuck, man? It's set up so that unless you're like a huge, there's a misnomer in the name small business, because small business is a business like yours or mine, but it's also a 500 employees. Anything up to 500 employees is small business.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, you know, if you're on the 500 employee side, you're probably doing a lot better. And then, you know, paying the $500 tax on, you know, the corporate filing fee, you know, probably isn't a big deal. But when that whacks me, I'm like, all right, I'm not getting paid this week. I got to pay that fucking thing. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy, dude. And that is the downfall of owning a business, or the downside of owning a business. Unless you're so big where if you're generating millions, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But,
and that's also why anybody that has a small business has to not be completely honest.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like you never get ahead. Like,
The game is rigged against you 100%. So whatever you got to do. But, you know, it's crazy too. Like, I don't even know. Doesn't matter. No one wants to hear us talk bitching about owning businesses. Like, so, you know, you've been around a while, and you've been in a band that's been around for a while. Like, I like to always talk to people about, you know, kind of the pathway that even led them to get into like whatever. At the end of the day, this podcast is about subcultures, whether it's motorcycles or punk rock, or, you know, I definitely want to get into more weirdness and stuff and all other things. I got some guests coming up, like, as we've talked about, that, you know, getting into a little more different things. And, but, you know, to me, it's always interesting to find out, you know, what was the pathway that led someone to even get involved in these underground worlds, because, you know, especially when we got into shit, it wasn't as prevalent as it might be today, or, you know, in the last 10 years or whatever. So like, what even like led you on the path to get you into like punk rock and stuff?
I liked music since I was like probably like 11 or 12. I'd started getting into metal, like Guns N' Roses, then like, you know, Metallica, Slayer, Motorhead, Danzig. And I was big into metal, and then, you know, I was like 15, 16. I started hearing some punk bands, and at first I was kind of like, I don't know, like metal better. Like Circle Jerks, this shit sucks, whatever. I'm like Slayer. And then like I had a change in my life, kind of like my parents were divorced when I was like 5. My mother was remarried. Then my mother's second marriage fell apart, and we went from being like upper middle class to being like fucking dirt poor. Cause like, her husband bailed, and now it's like I got a mom working like at Tedeschi's overnights, supporting like 3 kids. And that kind of just made me like see everything a little bit different. And I started playing music, and I started playing drums, and I'm trying to play like fucking Slayer songs, and, you know, it like wasn't happening. You know what I mean? Then I hear like Black Flag, like, you know, like Nervous Breakdown and like Misfits Walk Among Us, and I was like, all right, this stuff's kind of cool, and I can play this. Like, I can play these drum beats, and you know, I started playing along to it, and like meeting people that were into, you know, bands like that, and then just kind of with everything going on in my life at that point, it was like, you know, people singing about being poor and you know, oppressed. It was a lot more what I was into than like fucking Dungeons and Dragons and Satan, you know what I mean? So I still love that shit. Don't get me wrong. You know, but it's just, so I kind of just geared more towards like punk rock. Like I remember hearing like Black Flag, Nervous Breakdown, and being like, this is fucking amazing. And then like for the year it was made, especially like, I mean, like this came out in like what, like 75 or 76 or something. And
there was a little like 79 or something, but still,
for that speed, speed and everything for that time, I was like, wow.
What year, what time frame was this? Like how old were you when this was kind of going on?
I got into punk rock probably like 15, 16 years old. I mean, it's, I'd like to, there's people like, I was 12, and it's like, oh, whatever. I lived in the suburbs and that shit wasn't available. Like, you found it from like,
there's no contest or race. It's just more like,
so I was probably like, I'd say like 16. So I remember like getting my license and driving and like listening to like, like fucking Misfits and Gigi Allen and, the Damned and stuff. So, I was about 16 and started playing drums and going to shows. And then when you're that age and you go to shows, you're just like, holy fuck, like you just start to see other bands that are into that stuff that are your age or a little bit older or from other towns. Back then, without the internet, it was so hard to meet people or to find new stuff. So there's like certain bands I know now, like Anti-Flag or the Casualties. And it's like, it sounds weird, but when I like saw them and met them, it was like I'd never seen them before. I'd heard about them, but you couldn't watch a video really or any of that. So, I mean, I've seen like Anti-Flag, who's a huge band now, play in like the basement of an old like grocery store. And there's like 10 kids there.
Our funniest story like that is we went to go see Green Day at the skate park, and there was literally like 10 or 15 people there.
That's crazy.
But this is before, like,
right.
We were just there all the time. It wasn't like we were there to even see them. We didn't even know who they were. They were just in town, and same type of thing. It's like you see these people, and it's like everyone started, in that shit. You know what I mean? Doing
right,
paying their dues and doing the 10-person shows.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
it's
no.
just funny, So it was around like 15, 16.
Yeah, I was like 15, 16 years old, and then just got into it, and then I would just go into Harvard Square with a couple friends and go to like Second Coming Records and Tang Records and New Ray Comics and just try to find new records. Like, oh, that dude had a Poison Idea T-shirt on. Let's check that band out or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just something I just really gravitated towards. I still always liked metal. Once I got into punk, I was in hardcore. I was more into that. Cause I just related to it more, and then like when I started playing shows, it was like everyone here is the same. Everyone's equal. Even though I'm up here and these kids might know the songs I'm singing, it was still like, I wasn't off somewhere else and I wasn't playing. I was like, before we played, I was like moshing, in the pit, like dancing along. And after we played, I was back in there, like where the next band's playing. So it was just like just a good, like, way to meet people and just somewhere to belong, really.
Sure, yeah. That was such a good time in Boston when like Second Coming was still around, and Kids Will Have Their Say, you know what I mean? Well, the Tang record store, all that stuff, man. Like, because you could just make little circuits around, and go to just different record stores.
Right.
And then Providence had a bunch.
I was just
like
going to say, in Providence, you come down
In Your Ear and all
forward
that. Fast forward. And you go to Newport.
Street.
Yeah, go to Newport, and there was
that fucking place that had like Nintendo games and stuff. Is that Newport?
Yeah, I believe so. But then there was two.
Luke something?
Yeah, yep.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. But then there was
I would go there more for the video games and like the punk rock.
Yeah. But then there was another one in Newport, and I just remember being a fucking idiot. And I went in there one day, and I cannot remember the name. I got to call my boy Ryan after this because he'll remember. But there was this good record store in Newport, and it just had all kinds of punk and hardcore and stuff. And I still remember this to this day. I was holding an original Misfits Beware 12-inch. And then literally I bought Dead Kennedys and God We Trust. And nothing against the Dead Kennedys, but that stayed in press. And the Misfits Beware OG 12-inch did not stay in press. And it is worth a ton more money than the first press of the In God We Trust LP, which is a really good record. I'm not slamming it. I'm just saying it was a dumb business decision if as far as
you're still making them, right?
as far as record collector goes. Yeah, here's the dumb decisions. Man, never stop. But yeah, and that used to be the beauty of like punk and hardcore to me. It was just the hunt for shows and the wait and hunting shit down and trading records with people all over the fucking country or world and just the adventure of it, man. And I, I get kind of, I wonder if, I wonder what it's like to be a young kid now getting into shit where you could just download everything and see every band you're ever interested in and watch them play. I feel like, I don't know, now, I mean, this isn't like old guy talking, but like, I feel like I liked the mystique of it. Like something that's touching on what you said is like, the Casualties, like you never saw them guys, so you didn't know what they looked like or what the show was going to be like until you saw the show for the first time. And, a lot of bands had a little more of like a mystique around them and stuff. And
yeah, that mystique is just like gone. Like just even like 5 or 6 years ago when the Misfits got back together, and I was like, was gonna go. And I was like, I can't justify like $2,000 to like fly out there, buy the ticket. But I was like watching it on YouTube as it happened. And I'm like, this is fucking like
crazy.
Yeah, it's just like there's it's everything's so accessible now.
Yeah,
something like that you would never get to see. Now I'm like some assholes filming it with his camera.
Yeah. Instead of watching it, you know what I mean?
And here I am watching like Brain Eaters or whatever, like in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, the closest I ever got was were you at the show? I don't even know when it was, but it was at least 10 years ago where Danzig played in Boston and Doyle came out and they did like 11 Misfit songs.
Yeah, was that in Worcester or Boston?
I believe it was Boston.
I've seen it. They did it at the Palladium. I think it was at a Rock and Shock actually.
Yeah, this wasn't that. Okay. They did it another time, but I think it was at like the Orpheum or someplace weird. It was like it wasn't like a small place, but it wasn't like a huge place.
Right. But yeah, no, I know he did that. They started doing that in like around 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 or so years ago.
Yeah. And it's the same as the Misfits, except it's like whatever, there's one less guy with the devil on stage.
I saw Danzig singing those songs. I mean, me and my boy Ryan went to see the Misfits. Danzig. I saw Danzig before the first album came out.
Oh, that's awesome.
It must have been his like second or third show. It was like Christmas night at the old living room in Providence.
That's crazy.
And
we Christmas?
It was Christmas night, I believe. If not, it was like the night before, the night after. And no, it definitely wasn't Christmas Eve, but I think it was Christmas night. And he played, and we didn't really know what to expect. And I was 16, so I'm like, all right, dude. I hope it's good. I'm antagonizing this motherfucker. You know what I mean? 16-year-old.
Right.
Like, I want to see fucking, Misfit shit more than anything, or even some Sam Hain or whatever, or Soen, however you want to pronounce it. We weren't expecting a fucking mesh half shirt Danzig. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all.
Back then, it's like, what the fuck?
And, you got to place the time. Yeah, it was like 87, 88, something like that. And so we weren't ready for it. And I just remember looking up being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, obviously, as I got older in life, like I appreciate like more rock stuff and more calm stuff like that. But it just wasn't, like I'm like, I want like fucking, I won 38. I'm not, right. I'm not Twist a Cane at that point. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, what the fuck's going on? So I started writing signs like Play Bullet and shit, like holding them up, and the whole night just antagonizing them. You know what I mean? And then they did play Halloween. And I remember I was so aggravated at that point that I just snatched the mic out of his hand and I started singing it. And I was like, fuck you, dude. And then like he wanted to fight me and his manager wanted to fight me. And I'm like 16. I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking fight, whatever, dude. Like, and it's just like, whatever, But me this age, I would love to see that show again.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? But, I came to appreciate Danzig a little bit later, but we just weren't ready for the change.
Right.
This is when punk and hardcore were still like punk and hardcore. It wasn't a lot of crossover shit yet. And so it was just a kind of a bizarre thing. But yeah, so what started
I'm gonna have one of these Truly drinks if you want.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, it's about to get fucking serious right now. Mark brought a case of Truly hard seltzer. And we're gonna bust in. Well, there's so many flavors.
Raspberry lime, or would you like black cherry?
I'll do the black cherry. Okay. It's a little bit. I feel like that's
I'm gonna go blueberry myself.
A little harder, yeah. Yeah, he has to live in hard. All right, it isn't that bad.
Right? Yeah, it's not terrible. It's pretty good.
Yeah, the vodka Gatorade's already gone. You got to understand, it's very humid in here. We need refreshing drinks. Can't just pound whiskey right now. All right, thank you, bud. So when did you give up the drums, or do you still play drums?
I haven't played in years. I played like in the unseen when we first started. We like all switched instruments. It was like a fucking debacle.
just young and trying to figure out what works?
When we recorded, like there were like 3 of us would sing. We basically, like when we played live, we would switch instruments. Like I would play drums for half the set, or and then I'd go sing like 5 songs, and then like the bass player would sing a bunch of songs. Our old guitar player would sing a bunch of songs, and we did that for years, and it was kind of cool because it was like, oh, if that dude's voice sucks, I like that dude's voice.
Something for everybody,
right? And then just from years of touring and everything, one of the dudes left the band, and at that point, I was singing like more than half the set, like about half the set or more than half the set, and our bass player also was singing a bunch. So we just got another drummer, and then the songs that I wasn't singing, I would just do backup vocals on or whatever. So, I kind of phased out. Like I played drums in the first 4 records, actually. Wait, 1, 2, yeah, first 4 records. But the first 2 records, I played drums on almost everything, and then the 2 after that, it was like I played drums on some of them. The guitar player played drums on some of them, and then we just got a drummer who's way better than me and the other dude. So we're like, let him play the fucking drums.
Sure, yeah.
It's gonna sound way better. So
it only took 4 records to kind of figure out where everybody wanted to settle.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't play drums. Sometimes I miss it. I know if I did it right now, it'd be terrible because it's like if you used to run and you don't run for 10 years and you go for a jog.
Yeah.
It's drums a lot of stamina, but I mean, I could do it if I played for practice for a couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I want to play drums in an oi band. It's so fucking easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that drummers are like finding like the gold idol in the fucking in the pyramid, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the hardest thing to find is a good punk rock drummer, or just any punk rock drummer. Like, no one wants to lug a kid around and deal with all that shit.
Yeah, it's a pain. I mean, I remember years ago, I ended up buying a smaller drum set, and it was because I saw Matt Kelly from the Dropkicks. He had one. And like we were a band before them, but then like I see them playing, I'm like, what the fuck? It's fucking kick drums, like 18 inches, like the size of my floor tom, but it sounds good.
Yeah.
And then I remember going and trying one at the drum store, and I bought it, and it like made traveling so much easier, like because all the toms were like a couple inches shorter, and when you're packing that shit in a van, like Tetris, that actually, it worked out good. So I still have that drum set. Actually, it's in the practice space in Alston, where like Slapshot practices.
Yeah, that's such a shared space.
Yeah, right. At one point, it was Unseen, Death Before Dishonor,
Blood for Blood,
Blood for Blood,
War Machine.
Yeah. It was like everybody,
everybody. And it's still there, man.
I haven't been in that room in probably like 3 years.
Oh yeah, we haven't.
I wonder if Death Before Dishonor still pay. I'm gonna text Brian and ask him.
Yeah, we should.
They probably still pay rent. I don't even know if they still use it.
We should get him on the phone right now and be like, we should have like a band practice, a band practice space meeting right now and be like, has anyone even been in there in like the last?
Slapshot, I'm assuming, still uses it when they can.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, and
Street Dogs use it sometimes when they're in town.
When they're in town, yeah,
probably.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, it's Randy just camps out there.
Austin cokeheads. Like,
who the fuck knows? We should probably go in there and make sure it's not really a fucking squat or something right now, dude.
Seriously,
I wasn't even thinking about that, like. Because we haven't practiced in a long time, and I don't know if anyone's been in there, but the space is still there.
Yeah, we stopped officially using the space like probably 4 years ago, and I think in like the PA, I don't even think it works anymore, but that's still in there. Like my drums are there. So yeah.
No, the PA, I think the PA works. I remember all I had to do is I just brought a mic. Mm-hmm. I bought my own mic and the PA that was there was working, but I don't know which PA it is.
Right. Yeah. Who knows if it's the same one or it's probably part of that. And
it's probably like a Frankenstein. But yeah, that is I definitely, like, we were supposed to record last month, and all this shit hit, and so we haven't even gone into the practice space to write anything. So we're trying to do that soon. Mm-hmm. And for those that don't know, Mark is you're the only guest appearance on that War Machine record. That's right. The first song is
That was fun. That record sounds great too. I remember being like showing up that bass and I'm like, "Well, how this is gonna sound?" But it sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, Trevor knows. Trevor's coming on the podcast at some point.
Nice.
That dude knows what he's doing. Like it's crazy because that's just a testament to like how far like recording technology has come. And with that said, there's also the caveat of he can't update his computer because he doesn't have internet. So he's running on a wicked old operating system or whatever. So he just knows how to use what he has.
Okay.
So yeah, it sounds a lot different. You wouldn't, if anyone heard the record, and then, the stuff that's recorded, like where Battle Ruins, all kinds of bands record there.
Oh, okay.
That's where Rival Mob recorded, because he was in Rival Mob and all.
Oh, he was? I didn't know that.
So the thing is like, you wouldn't know that that's coming out of basically a dude's basement. Right. That's converted into a studio.
And I was psyched to sing on that song because that was the first thing I'd done since the last stuff we did with Tenebrae, which is probably fucking 7 years ago or something. I think. Yeah. Well, I've been lucky, like being like singing on other records, which is great. I did a song with Death Before Dishonor on their Better Ways to Die album, which I was psyched about because I always loved those guys, and got to just back up some Blood for Blood, one of the Blood for Blood records, and it's always cool to like.
Sure.
Be with another band and sing something, it's like so different.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to see, everyone's got their own processes. Like I always like to watch and see how different people do things. Like like watching how like one band will record versus how someone else.
Some people like warm up and do all this shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Even I do that on tour too. You'd see some dudes like doing mad vocal exercise and stuff, and then you see like Lars like smoking butts, and he just goes up and fucking kills it.
Yeah.
Fuck does that guy do that?
Yeah. It's funny too because, everyone has their own thing. Like, and speaking of Lars, it's funny because he's like, no, you can't do honey, and it's like that's the only thing that works for me. Like, I have to take a squirt of honey to coat my throat to get it to break.
Why does he say not to? Is it?
I don't know, but he's like, you can't do honey; it constricts the throat. And I was like, maybe for you, not for me. You know what I mean? So it's funny because everyone has their own little thing. Right. You know what I mean? Especially like, and I'm sure like guitarists have all their own little things, singers and have their own little things, and it's like, I think drummers have it the worst, like touring because they have to carry shit around, but singers have it the worst in a punk or hardcore band, or metal band, for like practice purposes. Like, what are you gonna do? You can't if with War Machine, these guys are all like, well, no, we don't need, because Slapshot's always playing or AF, and it's like. I'm telling him, like, dude, I need to practice just to get my vocal stamina up.
Oh yeah, it's like that's definitely. Yeah.
Then I can't go scream in a room for a half hour.
I could,
but yeah, I mean, yeah.
But no, it's true. Like, because I noticed, like, when I used to tour all the time, and like compared to when we play shows now, it's a world of difference. Because we barely like sometimes we'll play a show and not practice, or we'll practice once.
Yeah,
it'll be like, we haven't played in 4 years. We're gonna practice once, and I'm like. I can't like yell like I used to and something because I'm not doing it. At least when I was playing with Tenebrae, or before that I was doing a band called Ashers, and the Unseen wasn't that active, but I was still practicing like at least 3-4 times a month, if not more. So I was still yelling different songs. So, but now it's like fuck, like luckily kids know the lyrics, so I don't. If I suck, I can just hand it out there.
Hand the mic out. Yeah. No, absolutely, and it's true. Like it's like you have to practice a certain amount. Just to keep it going and to keep the stamina up. And that's why it's like, because since I've never been in a band that's like a touring professional band like that, like where it's like going out for like, half the year at least. Like, I'm like, because I'm like, for example, Terror. Like, how the fuck does Scott do that?
Right.
Every fucking night. Like, because, it's an aggressive.
It's tough.
It's an aggressive thing. I'm like, I can't imagine trying to do that shit every night.
One thing I noticed for me is I don't sleep a lot anyways, but if I didn't get like at least like 4 hours sleep, it would really affect my vocals. Like it's just I wouldn't be able to like hit certain notes as I was yelling. So it's tough. I mean, I remember, sorry, truly, one time we were on tour in Europe and I had strep throat and I was still singing every night because it's like, if
what
we
are you
don't play, we don't get paid.
You're in Europe. Yeah. You can't just go home.
It was brutal. I should have just went and got antibiotics, but I didn't. I just didn't realize that they had hospitals in Europe, so I was an idiot.
Yeah, too punk for antibiotics.
But that's the worst part about, there's nothing you can do. If your voice doesn't work, there's nothing you can do. You can't like tune it.
Yeah.
Can't grab another one.
Yeah,
You're fucked. It's just like, it is what it is. Like, and some nights you would play a show that wasn't even that great and you'd be like, wow, I fucking sounded awesome. The next night you have some awesome, you're playing with like, in front of like 5,000 people with all these awesome bands and you sound like shit and there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I know. That's the vocalist hardship or whatever. So you started talking about kind of the unseen and starting out with, but more in the context of you guys were all just kind of experimenting with different instruments or singing and playing and things. What caused you guys to kind of even like start the band, and like what's the origin of the band, for someone that might not be familiar?
Right. Pretty much like 92, somewhere between like 92 and 94, like living in the fucking suburbs of being bored and just like wanting to like jam, just try to play any music, and then finding people that were into the same stuff. I remember like seeing like Trip in like my high school being like, that dude's got pink hair, like, and like he's wearing a trench coat, like I bet he's into weird shit.
Yeah.
And just boredom. Like we lived in Hingham, like, which is right next to Weymouth, and just a suburban, like boring town with nothing to do. We weren't playing sports or anything, so it was just like it was like, we'll get together, we'll hang out, we'll play. And then when we weren't playing, we were doing other dumb shit, like fucking playing ding dong ditch or like whatever, like just doing dumb shit like kids do. So it was just like a way to bond with like other people, so we just kind of started playing and going to shows, and that's basically it. Basically just boredom. There was, no internet, fucking, we were just getting cars and stuff. It was like nothing else to do. It's like sit at home in Hingham and rot, or like go in like your parents' basement and fucking make noise. So we just did that.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah. And so how long did it stay in the kind of like the garage phase before you guys started taking it a little more serious?
It wasn't really that long. We kind of like, once we started playing, I was just like I said earlier, it was kind of like when I was into mainly metal, I was just like, fucking no way that I'm going to make something that sounds like Seasons in the Abyss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then like when you would hear like a fucking, like whatever, like a Black Flag recording or like a G.G. Allen recording, and then it's like, there's studios around here, like call and be like, oh, how much? And I remember we went in and recorded like 15 songs for like $300. We did it in like 4 hours. We just like played everything.
Yeah.
So it was, once we started playing and going to a few shows, I think we were like, not that we were super intelligent, but I think we like saw some of these bands and we're like, well, they're fucking not any better than we are. And they're playing a show and they have a 7-inch. So why the fuck can't we? So we just recorded, and I remember recording and then just being like, all right, we're going to put a 7-inch out. Like, where do we make records? And I was like, United Pressing Plant in Nashville. Boom, call them up. What do we need to do? Oh, send us a DAT tapes, So we just sent them a DAT tape. We took some other band's 7-inch, like just cut it so we had the right size. And then we're like, okay, now we need to make a 7-inch cover. And we just like start gluing shit on there.
Yeah.
Typing out the shit from the typewriter and like gluing it on there for the lyrics and stuff. So it was just so easy. It just seemed like, well, all these other people are doing it.
Yeah.
So we just we took it serious in the way that we started trying to just like produce T-shirts and 7-inches and cassette tapes, even videotapes. We'd like videotape shows from the Rat and like sell them.
Oh, that's cool.
They're like, oh, here we are live at the Rat with like Blank 77 and Toxic Narcotic or whatever. Like,
yeah.
$3.
$3.
there's probably like an episode of like Dynasty after it or something.
Yeah,
like that we taped
it's some
over.
weird shit. Yeah, Magnum PI.
Like Monday Night Raw or something.
yeah.
But so yeah, we started like kind of taking it serious shortly into it, and then we're like, let's tour. But we took it as like we're gonna just tour for like a week, do like summer vacation, you know, take a little bit of time off of work. And I think the first tour we did was actually with Toxic Narcotic. I think we went out to like the Midwest and back. We went out to like Wisconsin, I think, and back. And doing that, we met a bunch of bands. We went and played like Minneapolis. We got to meet like bunch of bands from like Havoc Records, which is like a political punk label out there.
Yeah, I remember Havoc.
And a band Ass Rash. We played with them, and from there we just started booking other tours. Like we meeting other people from other areas, and we would drive to Pittsburgh like for one show. And looking back at it, sometimes we talk, we're like, wow, we're fucking idiots. Like that's a long way to drive for one show. We connected with like Anti-Flag and another band, Oz Rotten. And like they would book us to play Pittsburgh, and we would drive there, and there'd be like fucking 500 kids. It was insane,
Sure,
back, you know. But it's a long way to drive for one fucking show. Like we'd leave on like we'd be like, yeah, we all stoked, you know, like fucking jump in the van. It's like a 13-hour drive. We'd get there, play, sleep, you know, wake up, fucking drive home the next day.
Yeah, man. But that's the shit, you know, you probably look at it with a certain fondness too, though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've traveled the world, you know, and like I always say, I'm like, I wasn't good in school. I didn't go to college. I never made a fuckload of money doing what I did, but I got to meet so many people and travel so many places.
Yeah.
Including my wife. Actually, I met her in Spain years ago when we were there playing. So yeah, it's just, I got to do so much shit because of the band. Like I've been to like so many places. Australia, you know, like I would never go to Australia if I wasn't in a band.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it's definitely.
So I'll trade that for college and, you know, a fucking nice house any day.
You have a worldly education, you know, and perspective on things.
Yeah, I got to see like castles, squats, you know, like fucking all kinds of shit.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is like when people talk about wealth and they're in the States, like you don't know what wealth is until you go to Europe and you see fucking castles and fucking shit like that. And like, you're like, some of them are museums or whatever, but some of them is just a motherfucker's house. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. Like, you know, like when I lived in Switzerland, I'd meet people, and I remember there was this dude, Joe, and he was cool. He was very low key. You would never think about it. Like, you know, we'd hang out at the bar, everyone would buy around, and then one day he was like, "Oh yeah, just meet me at my house," because we were going somewhere. He has this penthouse apartment in like Geneva, which is not cheap. And then there's like this picture of this fucking massive castle on his fridge, and I was like, "What's that? Where you from?" He's like, then he get all weird. He's like, "No, that's my parents' house."
That's crazy.
And it's like old wealth is way different than you know American wealth. Like old wealth meaning like for like centuries, not like decades. You know. But yeah, man. So you know, when you travel the world, you get a lot of different, unique experiences. And
you just learn so much more. It's awesome. Like I took it for granted for so long, and then probably for like the first like 8-9 years I did it, whether I was in Europe or the States, and then like I don't know if I realized probably like, all right, probably not gonna do this forever. Like some people do, like. Fucking more power to like people like AF and the Casualties and, you know, like drop kicks and, you know, like whatever. It's like, but I was just like, yeah, all right. You know, it's like, it's just tiring. It's awesome. But, I started being like, we'd be on tour and I'd be like, I'm in fucking Des Moines, Iowa. When am I ever going to be here again? I want to check it out. You know, I'd like go to thrift stores or like bars or like, anything, malls, just like to see like those places. 'Cause I'm like, I'm never gonna come here again. Like, what's the odds I'm going to, you know, to I don't even know what else.
Topeka, Kansas,
or like West Memphis, Arkansas, or you know, West Memphis 3.
No, and it is cool. It's like it's a fringe benefit of the thing, and that's why like it always weirded me out. Like when people were like so like closed on the road, like we've done a couple I've been on a couple with bands and a couple tours and stuff, and like, I just remember once. This is like totally unrelated, but like this is not even like punk rock. This is like hip hop related. We were out in Europe with some of the dudes from Hieroglyphics, like Del. Remember Del, the funky Homo sapien? He was like a big rap thing in the rap guy.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, and
go
he
on.
and some of the guys from Souls of Mischief and this dude Casual. These were all like Oakland rap dudes, and we're at like Stonehenge. And like some of the dudes didn't even get out of like the truck, and I'm like,
That's
you don't
crazy.
want to go see one of the wonders of the world?
Right.
Like we're at Stonehenge, like all you gotta do is get out of the van. You know what I mean? Like it's not like,
Right.
And some dudes are so jaded by the road, like fuck it, I don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, man, dude, you're just limiting like. There's so much out there. Like I love that shit. Like I almost wish that, I chose just doing a band professionally or like just doing like a lot of my friends doing like road crew stuff or whatever for bigger bands or whatever, because I'm good with the road and
Yeah.
love it. You know what I mean?
I loved it too. I mean,
But I think I love it because I only do it like
Right.
fun. You know what I mean?
I feel
didn't
like
do
I
it.
came across like an asshole about it. Like I did love it,
No,
but it
not
just
at all.
got to a point where I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like there was times where I was like, "I've played Los Angeles 4 times this year. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is insane.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like these people don't care. They just saw me 2 months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like I remember like when the business first came back, and I was like fucking like 18 years old. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
they played, and then like that, like the Rat, and then like 2 months later the Middle East, and I was like, yes, and then like 2 months later they're in Providence. I'm like, I just saw him like
Yeah.
like 3 times this year.
You can't overdo it.
And that's kind of what was happening with us is we were burning ourselves out by playing everywhere so often, and then if you don't put something else new out, you're like playing the same shit over and over. So
Yeah. Well, how many records did you guys actually do? Not, full lengths, not 7.
I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did 2 on AF Records, which is Anti-Flag's label. Then we did 2 on BYO Records, the dudes from Youth Brigade.
Yep.
And then our last 2 records were Hellcat Records, which is Epitaph, basically.
Yeah.
Same thing, just different stamp on the back of the record, and it's Tim Armstrong's more involved in the bands for Hellcat. So yeah, 6, and then we did like a best of record and a bunch of 7 inches and stuff. So
Yeah. Compilations and
yeah.
shit. That's cool. So it's funny because like you think of things like BYO Records, it's like, these dudes were doing that since like the Another State of Mind days and shit.
And it's so weird because I remember seeing that as a kid before I was even into punk rock, because I used to show it like on USA Network.
Yeah. Night
just
Flight.
like every like third weekend it would just be on. I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, it would just be on. And then like years later, I'm like, wait a minute. I think I just like saw this movie when I was a kid, and like now we're on this dude's record label. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And then now they're doing the punk rock bowling.
Right. They don't even do the label anymore. The label's like non-existent.
Is it? That's what I was going to ask.
I don't think they've put anything out in years. But I mean, they kill it with the bowling, I'm assuming it probably takes a year to plan that.
Sure. That's a fucking major undertaking. But dude, I agree with you about bands. Like when I was a kid from about 15 to like in my 20s, like one of my biggest regrets in life was like being so pissed that I could never have seen Negative Approach. Because it's my all-time favorite band, whatever. Now I've seen Negative Approach so much, I'm just like,
right.
And
yeah.
it's not like I'm tired, like, but it's just like,
yeah, that you were like, there's a time where you're like, I don't think I'm ever going to see this band.
Yeah. Now it's like, all right, I've seen them about 9 times, and it's like,
right now I think the only band that like I have never seen that I want to is Minor Threat, and I don't think they'll ever do it.
No.
Which is kind of cool. It's like, all right, that was their time, that was their thing, and they're just like,
it'd be cool if they did like one show, but I think what happens, all these bands are going to come back and they do one show, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well,
right? Why not?
Why not, right? And then it's like, I'm not talking shit, but like Judge definitely did that. Like they didn't play forever. And then, even when they were around originally, they didn't play that much. And then they just played so much that it was just like fucking crazy. I was like, dude, how, like, I've like seen Judge 3 times this year. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and I'm not, there's no disrespect. Like,
Right.
I'd love to go see him right now. Like, I wish there was any show right now, but
Yeah, right. Seriously.
but yeah, I mean, it's just, it's crazy because then it's like, you gotta have good timing with shit, I think, just to kind of keep it fresh for people, you know? And that's something it's like you don't think about, but bands should kind of think about, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like it's you want to be on the road all the time, but it's like you said, you don't want to hit Los Angeles
exactly
every 2 months.
So you got to figure out places to go, like new places to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I know now if we were to go do a tour, it would be awesome because we haven't toured in over 10 years. Like we played California like probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we hadn't been there in 10 years. We played a festival. It was like a small fest. It was like 1,500 kids or something, and it was like Conflict, Defiance, Total Chaos, Blank 77, and like all these bands tour and still play all the time, and like we played and we got like the best reaction of the night, and not because we're any better than any of these bands, but it's because
no one's seen you in a long time.
Either these kids have never seen us because it had been 10 years since we played there, or they hadn't seen us in 10 years where they saw Conflict like twice last year.
Yeah.
So it was like people were just like way more, excited to see us.
Sure.
So that's the thing. It's like if we were to go do something like a full tour, like Europe, it would be awesome, but it's just none of us really have the desire. We're like, I'm like, I have a business. And like someone's I got a kid and this and that. So it's like,
like if you did a tour, it would probably be in summer. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's probably landscaping, like major time.
Right.
It's like your major time. You'd have to have either trust someone to run your business for you for 3 weeks or whatever, or you're going to miss like 3 weeks of income. And it's hard to do nowadays.
Tough.
Yeah. It's like, I wish I was 18 again, man, and had no responsibility and could do all this all over again. You know what I mean? I would. I don't know.
Right?
It's dumb, but
it's good. I mean, I think it's best when you're young. You know, I mean, fuck it. Look at Stigma. He's loving it still. But
yeah.
But
he's
it's
such an outlier,
right?
though. You know,
it gets tougher as you're older. But if you have the people to help you out, and you've got a good road crew and great booking agent, I know they do. That makes shit a lot easier, but it's when you're in that van all day long and like feeling like shit this night, and like you don't go to bed till 4 a.m. You get to drive 200 miles so you can get to the next show the next day. It's just like, it gets to be like, oh fuck. And then like just all the shit that happens, like the breakdowns, and it's like we'd been places where we'd be like trapped somewhere for like 3 days, like waiting for something to get fixed. And so it's just, it gets old.
You guys ever do South America?
No, we didn't. We never did South America.
That's like a bigger market now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot, especially I don't know about as far as for punk, but I know like hardcore. Like it's huge down there. And that's like a lot of people are doing like the Central and South America now. It's crazy. So that's where you guys should play because you guys haven't done that. But yeah, man, it's crazy that like punk and hardcore like became such a. It's not crazy that it has, but it's cool that it's become such like a world music, like and so appreciated all over that like bands can tour like South America now, like, and it's a viable place, and like there's like infrastructure built in for bands to like tour there now. And
Probably from the internet, right? I would think that must have helped. I would guess.
I assume,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because how else would you get like word of mouth of that, like back in the day?
But then you got like things like Sepultura and all that stuff, like what was happening down there in Brazil and whatnot, and so like it's more on the metal side, but once that gate's open, like people get exposed to all kinds of stuff. Like
I mean there'd been places we played, even in like like the early 2000s, where we're like we'd show up and be like, this is going to be terrible, and like, but we played this like show on like a mountain in Italy one time, and it was like a street festival. Like it was like the weirdest thing. And there was like folk bands playing and stuff. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? It was like a bad horror movie, but we played at like midnight, and it was an awesome show. These punks, I don't know where they came from. They're just like,
just descended upon the mountain.
Yeah. So,
it's crazy too. Like, well, Europe's different. Like their festivals are like insanity. It'll be like Iron Maiden, Blue Oyster Cult, Judas Priest, and like Madball.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like the States are starting to do that now. Finally.
Yeah. It's weird, and you know, obviously, like Europe has a lot more like tour support for artists and stuff compared to out
In
here.
general, touring in Europe, it's just more comfortable. Like even, the only thing that sucks is like you're so far from home, but they treat bands so much better there.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of venues. Like let's say if this was Europe and you were doing a show right here, it'd be like apartment upstairs with like 10 bunk beds, and we'd be sleeping there.
Yeah.
And like they just give you so much food and so much booze, whereas here it's like, oh, you got like a $10 buyout, or fucking here's 2 pizzas, a case of Bud Light, and go fuck yourself. You know?
Yeah. Doors are closing in 10 minutes. See you later. but yeah, what's been some of the obviously I do want to talk about like Tenebrae and Ashers and stuff but like as far as like with Unseen, what were some of the kind of standout moments? I know you mentioned that place, like the show in Italy, that was an unsuspected good show, but like you guys had a long, and still have a long career, but like what have been some of the more standout moments for you guys?
It's tough.
Or some of the crazy shit, you know what I mean?
Right. Standout moments are probably, I mean, like just some of the tours we did, you know, like after being like a full-time touring band, you know, for like say 3 or 4 years, like, all right, we need to start doing different shit. 'Cause it's like, we're going out on tour with like these punk bands, the same bands over and over. So we're like, you know, started branching out and doing stuff with like hardcore bands, or like, you know, punk bands that are like different kind of punk, like Boy Sets Fire, you know, like just other different shit to kind of expand our fan base. 'Cause we're like, everybody that likes us, like, has seen us, and we're not going to expand unless we start doing different shit. So, just starting to play with like other bands like AF, Hatebreed, stuff like that. Just expanding and meeting other people, and like playing sort of different shows that are still punk and, you know, or hardcore. 'Cause I feel like it's the same, you know? But just doing different shit, you know, after a while it got so boring doing the same stuff. We're like, all right, cool. We're going to play with the Casualties again. Awesome. Like, love those guys. Like you know, but we got to do something different. So when we started expanding and doing other shit, it was good just to try. I mean, we did a tour. It was like AF, Hatebreed, Murphy's Law, and us, and like it was awesome. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go, because we're definitely sticking out like a sore thumb here, you know. Yeah. But it was great. Yeah. You know, so just doing different shit. You know, you have to do that if you're gonna keep doing something. You have to progress. So that's a big thing. I mean, when we ended up doing Warped Tour, which is like a lot of people knock that, but that was a great thing in my life. We did it 5 or 6 times, and it's like hell doing that tour. Like, it's a lot of work, but it did a lot for us.
Sure.
And not to cut, like, I know you're just about to say something.
No.
Like, a lot of people would talk shit to us, and it's like, all right, well, we're going to like New York and Boston and stuff, but we're also going to places where if we went on our own, like if we go to fucking Lawrence, Kansas on our own, we're drawing 10 kids. Like, that's it. End of story. If we play Warped Tour in Lawrence, Kansas, and then we go back like 3 months later, there might be 50 kids there. Yeah. And maybe now they're not going to like Good Charlotte. You know what I mean? Maybe they're going to because like one of us was wearing like a fucking Crash shirt, they're going to like check out Crash, or, you know what I mean? Like,
they're going to get more in depth. With shit,
it's like you got to, and this is still kind of when the internet was still kind of new. So it's like, you know, trying to get other people into what you're into, or expose yourself to other people was kind of like what we wanted to do after a while. Yeah. And that was like a big thing for us, and something that I'm proud of. I mean, sure, we did some stuff that kind of sucked, but like we did a lot of stuff that was beneficial for us. Sure.
And you know what? And well, I know I'm friends with a lot of bands that have done stuff like Warped Tour, and they say, you know, at the end of the day, it's like still having a lot of fun, and there's a lot of work, and there's some
long days,
bullshit, long days or whatever. But you know, here's the thing. To me, if you're asked to do a tour like that, and you're not changing who you are what you guys do musically, like it's good. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
yeah.
you know, like you're gonna expose people to some more authentic shit. You know what I mean? Like Warped Tour is to me is a good place to convert people. Like, you know, like they might go because they want to see, you know, whatever. But then they see you guys and be like, oh shit, there's some more serious shit out there. What the fuck is that? And then go check you guys out.
Right,
Buy a
exactly.
CD and then look at who you guys think and then go check out some other bands and
Right.
vice versa and whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing to me wrong with that. You know, if you guys like played this type of music and then changed what it was just so you could get on a tour.
Yeah, if we're like wearing different outfits and like makeup and shit. Or whatever,
that's lame, you know what I mean? But whatever. And you know, it's not even that it's lame, you know, I don't know, like it's just less authentic, whatever. But you know, I don't know. Like I think when I was younger, I was more resistant to some of that stuff.
I think everyone was when they're younger.
Yeah. But when you get older, you're like, no, you know, that's actually kind of smart and kind of cool that they would have bands on that were actually good. You know, I just miss like when I was really young, like and going to shows in the late 80s and early 90s, it was always mixed. There'd be like a punk band, a hardcore band, like a metal, like a local metal band.
That's
or
kind of the way it
whatever.
was in Boston too. Like
Yeah,
when we
that's
were
what I
starting
mean.
playing.
Yeah. Like and that was always good to me, you know, like yeah, you see like Psycho and like Wrecking Crew.
Right.
It's like, okay.
But I think it just goes down to the whole like sellout thing. It's like when you get to this point, like then people are like, oh, sellout. Like you're playing this, you're doing that. And it's like the way I see it is it's like if you play any show, even if it was like in this room and there's more than like 15 people here, there's gonna be 2 or 3 douchebags. Like
Yeah.
just because you all like the same politics or this, it's like doesn't mean that there's not some asshole in the room.
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
so doing different shit. It's not bad. It's you got to do it if you're like we were trying to make a living. We're like we want to make a living doing this. Like not like we thought we were going to be doing it when we were 60 years old, but we're like this is what we're doing now. We want to make a living doing this. Okay, well then we got to do some different shit.
And you know, the thing is saying I just want to make a living doing this isn't like I want to be filthy rich doing this. It's like you just want to make a living and get by and be able to
I just want to pay my bills. Yeah, like
be a
make my
band.
credit card payment.
Yeah. It's just because you're in a punk band doesn't mean you don't have real world.
Yeah, I didn't even have a house payment back then. You know? It was just like, but
exactly, it's crazy, dude. It's the same with like you know with any kind of American kind of subculture or subculture world probably like. You know, if someone's just trying to make moves, it's like, oh, you're a sellout. And it's like, no, like, I don't know. It's a weird, dumb thing to even talk about. And I'm a little hot and tipsy.
Feeling the Trulies?
Yeah. Look, do you get another Truly?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Let's get white girl wasted. Oh, someone's gonna cancel me
Raspberry
for saying
lime.
that. All right, raspberry lime. Here we go.
That's funny.
Okay. There you go.
What else can we talk about?
I don't know. I think I like the black cherry better, honestly.
Yeah.
But the raspberry lime's not bad. How's the blueberry?
And blueberry's good.
There you go. Blueberry acai. Is that how you say that? Acai or acai or acai?
Oh, acai? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I you know, one of the things I've been meaning to do is like do more contests and stuff because when I did a contest with when Roger from Purchase Street Records was on, and it went over really well. So I got to do. I don't know. We'll think.
Give away a case of Trulies.
No, I can't ship a case of Truly, but I got some stuff. One thing I do have coming up is I have some prize packs in the works, and I've already got some donations from Pitchfork, New York Clothing, and Pirates Press Records and stuff.
Nice.
I'm waiting to get. I got a couple more people that have making donations. When I get a big enough amass of stuff like Chopperhead will be in it. I'm going to start doing some more contests and prize packs. So keep on watch for that and hold me accountable. That if you don't see something in the next couple episodes, hit me up and yell at me because I'm not neglecting. I just forget about shit. So you know, I remember Ashers. I forgot that you were in Ashers, honestly, because I don't think I ever saw you guys, but I had some stuff. Tenebrae, like what made you do like kind of like a more thrashy band?
Well, I was trying to, Unseen was kind of winding down. I knew that, and I wanted to still play stuff. And so I was really good friends with Dominic, the kid who's the guitar player. He's actually in Slapshot now.
Yeah.
And we started talking, and he was in For the Worst at the time, and he had just left that band, and he was looking to do something else. And we were just talking, and he was like a skinhead dude, but he was like grew up listening to everything, like most people are our age, he's like loved GBH and English Dogs and Warzone, like everything. So I was like, you want to just write some shit? And so we met up a couple times, and he had a couple riffs, and I wrote some lyrics to it, and then we found Packer. I don't remember exactly how. I think we might have just posted something like, "Hey, we're starting a band," and then me, Dominic, and Packer got together, and then grabbed drummer EK, who used to be in Warzone and shit, and we just we clicked. It was fun, and we just started jamming and playing shows, and like we did a good amount of stuff for like a year or so, and then it just kind of like everyone was busy with doing stuff, and it just like I don't think anybody really wanted to put a bunch of work into it. So, but it was fun. I love the stuff I recorded with them. So sometimes we talk about playing again, like, oh, let's play a show. It's tough though because Dom's out in Seattle not Seattle, Portland.
Yeah, out in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest,
right?
But it wasn't. Craig was with you guys for a little while too, right?
Yeah. Yep. We decided to like add another guitar player, and we asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, the stuff's great, and Craig can learn anything in 8 seconds because he's like a wizard." So yeah. And then after Dominic moved, we were still playing a little bit, and I don't know, we might have played without him with Craig. I don't remember. And then we got Chris,
yeah,
and my friend Chainsaw, and they played guitar for a bit. I don't know. I think we played at 1 or 2 shows with that lineup. I don't remember, but yeah, no, it was a good time. Like Craig's on the second recording. The first recording was me, Ryan, Dominic, and EK, and then the second recording is with Craig. Craig's playing on that as well, and then Bob, who's actually plays drums in the Unseen now, he plays drums on that, and he was in Ramallah for a long time.
Yeah,
too. So yeah, it was fun. I liked that stuff. It was like good mix of punk and metal and hardcore.
Yeah. It just had a little more thrashy feel to me from the songs I remember.
Right.
I didn't have both. What was the one with like what was the one had kind of like a pentagram or something, right?
Oh yeah, yep. Okay.
That's the one I had.
The second one we did is Split with Panzer Bastard. It's like we do 3 songs.
Yeah,
and they do 3 songs. Yeah.
Keith's such a good dude.
Right. The best. You should have him on sometime.
I know.
He'd be good.
So I first met Keith when I was probably 16. Yeah. In my old band ITI, we played our first show that wasn't like a basement show or like a hall show. Like our first club show was at the Rat, and it was Uppercut, us, and Slapshot. And I just remember, like in just like being there, being 16 and being fucking nervous. And we took the bus from New Bedford to Boston to play the show or whatever. Like had our gear on the bus.
Right.
None of us had cars. We were poor and didn't have anything, And I remember looking out the front row, and it was like, Lloyd from Eye for an Eye and like, I don't know if you remember John Regan, because he was an old friend. He booked a lot of the shows in the early days. And he was in Crossface and Keith from Wrecking Crew. And like, Keith was just so excited. Like, every band, he was just like, oh, just when he was still long hair, like Keith and stuff. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, the guy from Wrecking Crew digs us for all right.
That's awesome. Yeah. He's a good dude. Yeah. I knew him, like seeing him around at shows and stuff. And then, one of the tours we did, we went out with Ramallah.
Yeah.
I think it was before their second album, Kill a Celebrity, came out. We were recording one of our records, and Rob was recording the Ramallah record. So we would like be leaving as he was coming, or vice versa, and like, listen to each other's shit and stuff. And then just started talking a lot, and like, you want to go on tour? Like, let's, and it's like, I don't know, guy. No, like I got a bad reputation. Nobody trusts me anymore. Or whatever. But it worked out good. We did the tour and Unseen and Ramallah. It was a weird bill, like it was like a oddball bill, but it was fun. It was great. And Keith was on that tour playing bass, and so I, got to spend like a month with him, and became really good friends with him on that tour. And Jeff Gunnels was playing with them at the time from Coldest Life, and another good dude. And
Yeah.
Joey, their merch dude, Joey Drink Tickets. I don't know if you know him. He's like was doing their merch.
Yeah.
He's like a Detroit dude. So that tour with them was a blast. Like, a couple of the shows were like duds, but most of them were fun. And
Yeah.
it wasn't really, kids were into it. Kids were into them. It wasn't like, oh, who are these guys?
Yeah. The thing though is like, I know too much touring can be one thing, but when you're on a tour with somebody, like, you really get to know somebody because you're like,
Oh yeah,
with somebody like fucking not all day, but kind of pretty much all day for like a month straight. Like, I don't know. Like, I think like I would love War Machine to tour like 3 weeks, 4 weeks a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like, if we could even figure that in, but all our schedules are too crazy. But like, I feel that's like a good amount.
yeah, 3. That's like, I would never want to do more than that. Like, and there's a lot of older bands that are bigger.
And I don't want to do that in a row.
Right.
Like, go out for
like
a week or two. Yeah, a week or two. Come back. You know what I mean? And do some other shit. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a crazy. It's just fucking fun getting out there and just like road life is hard, but it's also very different than everyday life.
I just wonder what the hell road life's going to be like in the future. It's just so fucking crazy.
Yeah, what's going to be?
I feel so bad for like all like our friends that are in bands.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, like.
Yeah, like that are still like trying to do like bands full time, like
Like, I was listening to Mike last week talk a little bit about it. I was like, damn, that's so fucking scary.
Yeah, imagine like you've just pretty much canceled your whole year,
right?
Like, and it's like, and that's a lot of bands.
Booking agents too. Like, I remember talking to a friend of mine who books, and he was like, "You have no idea that like all the time and money I just lost." Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
From, like, spending like if you got like 8, 10 bands in your roster and you're booking 10 tours and they're all booked, and then. Whew,
and that's what I was saying. I was like, and this isn't like to like take away from anything, but like the bands can still sell merch and records. The tour manager ain't, if they're not selling shows, they ain't selling anything. You know what I mean? Like, and so unless they're like a regular manager for a band and take 10% of everything or whatever, or 20% or whatever it is. But like, I can't imagine like getting unemployment is easy either for someone in that line of work.
Like right now, if you're a booking agent, like, how do you fucking even plan? Because you don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you right now, like, are you right now being like, okay, let's book a tour for January?
Yeah, you can't.
Are you gonna be able to tour in January? Like,
Who knows?
I don't know.
No one wants to tour in January anyway. And
the thing I think about that is like, when you're booking bands, you're like, okay, this band's worth fucking $1,200 in this city. Okay, what are they worth now?
Yeah, who knows?
Because maybe they are worth $1,200, but what if the venue's only allowed to let like 50% capacity of people in?
Yeah. And you're not going to be able to charge double for the show.
Right. So it's just so fucking tricky. I feel bad for people doing that. Like, what do you do? Like, I would assume that if you were a band and you wanted to tour right now, if you were trying to plan something for like, January, February, I would think that you would have to just do a door deal. You'd have to go off a percentage deal, because how else is any promoter gonna like
can't make guarantees.
Like if you're promoting the show and you're booking, whatever band, and you're thinking, okay, well, I'm expecting them to bring 300 people in, at whatever. But now the venue's like, we're only allowed to let 95 people in.
Yeah. And
so,
then you don't even know if 95 are going to show up, because 200 something people might be scared of something,
right?
You know what I mean? Or whatever,
So I would think everything's got to be so weird right now. It's crazy.
A tough fucking racket right now, dude, for sure. Absolutely. And that's why I'm not being a dead horse here, but if there's like bands that you're a fan of, go buy some physical merch from them or something right now, just to help these guys and gals, in this time, because especially if you're getting that extra $600 a week on unemployment and stuff, spread a little bit of that money around.
Yeah, seriously.
You know what I mean? Because, especially these motherfuckers that are making more now on unemployment.
I know so many people that are doing that. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And so it's
so
like
many people.
spread a little of that free money around, because not everyone has a job where that they're capable of getting.
It's coming back to bite people soon though. Somebody in my family actually the other day was like, they were getting like almost $900 a week, And before they were making probably 300 a week working, and they were like, so just found out I have to pay back $6,000.
Why? Like, what happened?
It was like the pandemic stuff, like collecting the unemployment. They just sent a letter saying, by the way, you owe us $6,000. So
Who did, the IRS?
Yep. So I think a lot of people are going to start. This just happened like 2 days ago. So I think a lot of people, this is going to start happening.
Party's over, motherfuckers. You know, the other thing too is
I was like, motherfucker, I'm out here killing myself, and you're making like $1,000 a week for doing nothing.
Yeah. Sweat my ass off. It's fucking hot and humid. And then
But at the same time, I was like, fuck the system. So I'm glad.
I don't give a shit. I'm not hating on nobody. That like I'm hating the game, not the player.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the thing is the other thing too is that stimulus check. Everyone thinks that's free money. It's like, no, wait till your tax year next year. That $1,200 or the 24 if you're married.
Yep.
That's coming out of your tax return.
30%, like give it back or whatever. Yeah.
It's not even 30%. That $1,200 is a loan towards your tax return next year.
Yeah, I would think something. I think it's too good to be true. Yeah.
The government doesn't make money. The government takes your money and reappropriates it.
And then I know a lot of people getting the small business loans. That's a whole nother thing.
I know.
And
I have a lot of people talking about that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, if worse comes to worse, it's still a 30-year loan at 3.75%. Where are you going to get that?
Exactly.
But I don't know. I don't want to be beholden to the government. With Chophead, this is like fucking, you know, the honest truth. I got approved for a certain amount. And I've been afraid to pull the trigger because I'm like, well, what I could do with that is like pay off high interest debt. Like, you know, like Chophead, there's a lot of credit card, you know, stuff for like, you know, that we use to buy parts and all that shit. But I'm like, I don't really want to be beholden to the government. Like, and there's actually like a little piece of pride in me saying like, I'll get through this. I don't need fucking their
right.
help.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. Cause my accountant's like, you're a slam dunk. He's like, you can get a loan. And I'm like, see, and I think if you use some of the money for payroll or
that amount is forgivable, allegedly.
Here we are talking about business again, but
well, whatever.
Yeah.
No, and there's a certain amount of people that want to hear that.
Right.
You know,
so I'm like thinking about it, and like so I'm exploring it right now just to see, because I'm like, well, fuck it, even if I only get like $9,000 and at 2% interest, and I use 5 of it for utilities and payroll, and I only have to pay $4,000 back. Fuck it, you know, why not? So I don't know. So, but at the same time, I really don't need it. Like I'm working as much or more than ever. So I'm like, do I really even want to fucking deal with these assholes? Like it's gonna come back to bite me somehow. Like I know
that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And then I feel
nothing's free in this world.
Yeah, exactly.
Way too smart for that.
Yeah. But then here is the conundrum, and I think this is probably where you are too. Am I a sucker for taking this, or am I a sucker for not taking
exactly.
it? And that's where I'm at. And I'm like, if I got any dudes out there or gals out there that are listening to this, that are accountants and know the ins and outs of this and like the intricacies of this stuff,
please let both of us know.
Whether it's the PPP or the other one that's the Small Business Association loan, hit me up and I will give you a prize pack and just tell me a yay or nay and the reasons why or why not I should take it. And I will give you a good prize pack and I'll share this information with Mark and we'll send you a bunch of shit.
Try to get some sort of accountant on as a guest soon.
I know. There's got
to be some punk rock accountant, hardcore.
Oh, I got my accountant. My accountant comes here and he's wearing a Thrasher hoodie half the time. So, I do plan to do that. I think the show's still in its kind of infancy, and I want to expand this out to other shit. I'm just trying to kind of find the show voice or whatever you want to call it. But I do have plans for the future of like what I'm going to expand into. And I do want to get a good tax accountant on here, because my accountant said something to me one day, because I was like, how the fuck in the 60s or 70s, well, 70s we kind of went through some shit, but in the 60s and stuff, how the fuck did we do it where like one parent could go to work and support a family of 4 with one job?
Right.
And he was talking about the tax structure and how different it was back then, and how it was like an adjusted type structure, like where, you know, you were taxed according to how much you made, but the tax rate would change.
Okay.
But it was way more skewed so that the middle class wasn't getting as burdened as it is now.
All right.
So basically the more wealthy people had a little bit more of a burden than they do now. Like there wasn't all the loopholes and all the crazy shit that there is now. But I would love to have someone to kind of break that down because, you know, I'm a wicked middle class advocate if people don't know by now. But, you know, and so I do plan on doing that at some point. But
Let's run to the boys' room. Can I do that real quick?
oh, absolutely.
Press
And so-
pause.
yeah, but no,
Or
I'm
you
not
can
even
just
gonna
keep
press pause.
talking, yeah.
I'm just gonna keep fucking talking. You know what I might
I'll
do?
be right back.
I'm gonna get some of my promos out of the way while you're doing this. So, you know, yeah, but for absolute real, if you are some kind of an accountant and you know the ins and outs of these government loans and for small businesses, please get in touch and tell me why I should or should not take the SBA loan. I could definitely use it. I don't 100% need it. And I feel like Mark is in the same boat there. So, and I will give you a prize pack and accolades and shout out your business on this podcast and on my social media. But, you know, while we're waiting for him to come back, if you don't know about Chop Cult, I'm going to get these out of the way now so I don't have to do it at the end. You should know what Chop Cult is. As I'm dropping shit here, I'm getting drunk off Truly, white girl wasted. So Chop Cult is the biggest, best, and coolest news resource out there and social network dedicated to chopper riders, motorcycle riders, builders, bike builders, customizers, whatever. Check them out at chopcult.com. They got weekly features, a blog dump, classifieds, and one of the most active online motorcycle-related forums there are. So you can be like, I need to know a little bit of tech advice for my 1952 BSA. And there's a British tech forum, you know? Or you can say, I want to look for some old weird parts that I can't seem to find for my Vincent Black Shadow or my Knucklehead or something. And you can go on there and look for that. So the membership's free, and you can follow them on all the social medias simply at Chop Cult. CHOPCULT. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and whatnot. And Mark's back. So, but yeah, man. So we talked a lot about music and business. Let's get into the weird shit, dude. I know you're a UFO guy and whatnot. And there's three kind of related things, and I brought this up on the podcast before, but I didn't have anyone that took the bait. But I feel like you'll take the bait. In 2020, there's been three things that have been pretty interesting and substantial news things that kind of just flew under the rug because COVID and riots and fucking whatever took the main stage. And I'm not saying that it wasn't appropriate, but, you know, and these three news things are, well, one is just the SpaceX thing. We now have a private company that successfully launched into space, and that kind of opens a Pandora box of like questions and about space and, you know, what's out there. And like, you know, before it was all governments that went out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if private companies are going out there and, you know, I don't even know how to explain this, but like in my head, I'm like, all right, so now private companies can go out and mine for resources, and there's all kinds of like elements and whatnot out there. Like, the realm of scientific discovery in space is not limited to governments anymore. Now it's a private enterprise.
I never thought about any of that, actually.
Because we don't know what the fuck is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whether it's correct or not, like if government goes out there, you feel like it's going to be in the public interest. If it's in a private interest, to say Elon Musk SpaceX goes out there and they find some weird new element that is like the new energy source that could like power everything fucking crazy. Like, and do they have a monopoly on it because they're the ones that discovered it? You know,
that's a good point.
There's a lot of fucking craziness with that. So that's one thing we could talk about. But two, and this is, I feel like it's a big deal, and it's a lot bigger deal than it's been said. But in 2020, the Pentagon has come out and officially acknowledged the existence of UFOs.
Right. That was a trip.
And that just kind of goes like, oh yeah, whatever, swept under the rug. And is it because people have known for a long time that there's like weird shit out there? And I'm not saying that it's aliens or whatever. I'm just saying that there's things that they can't explain, that they do not think that is like, technology that any country on this planet possesses. And, they've acknowledged the existence of UFOs, and the specific videos that they're referencing were shot by like naval pilots and like military pilots. And it wasn't like some fucking jerk off out in the desert holding a camera. It's like, this is like, and I think Joe Rogan had one of the pilots on his podcast. He did. I listened to it. And, the guy was like,
Yeah, I heard that too.
The guy was just like, we don't know. Like, this is like capabilities beyond anything that any country has. So that came out and it was just kind of like poo-pooed. And then, like people started talking about, people were concerned about the virus, which is, I get it, because it's something that's more in front of your face. And the other weird thing that happened this year is that scientists in Antarctica have like proven the existence of like alternate universes. And there's like a parallel universe to ours, but it runs in reverse.
I just saw something about that like the other day, actually, as I was falling asleep, I was listening to it.
Yeah. So it's like, there's like a lot of fucking crazy, like 2020 is a fucked up year,
Right.
dude. Like there's like riots, there's like the world's changing, like quote unquote, the new normal's coming. But at the same time, it's like, all right, there's UFOs and now private companies are in space and there's alternate realities and like fucking universes and shit. Like, the fuck is going on out there, dude?
The private companies in space, that is something I literally like. I never watched the news, and then I started watching it and like reading stuff like right when everything kind of started happening, and then after like another month, I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I just like shut it off. So, I never really put much thought to like the private companies going into space. I knew it was happening and everything.
And then as a quick aside, and this is just a public service message to everyone listening to this, and I think if you listen to this, you're probably in kind of the same boat. If you stop watching the mainstream news right now, your life gets infinitely better.
Right.
Like
Seriously.
you get way less stressed.
Yeah.
And then you realize like the world ain't as bad as the picture that is painted
Right.
on the news. And the news is just appealing to lowest common denominator, and it's just really just trying to use scare tactics to get you to engage, because that's how they get paid now. Like if you're not engaging with them, they're not getting paid. And then the only thing that really gets you to engage that much is fear. And they're just like fucking preying off that. So just shut off MSNBC, shut off Fox News. It's all fucking bullshit. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? And you guess what? Go out into the world and you see it isn't as bad as they say it is,
Yeah. With like that footage, like, I don't know. It was a weird time to talk about it, to be like, oh, by the way, like here's some shit that we don't know what it is, kind of. It's goes faster than anything we have. And but yeah, I don't really haven't followed much of that. I've always been into that stuff. I was always into like the Travis Walton story.
Yeah. Dude, I lived in Flagstaff. So
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, dude. And it's crazy because Flagstaff's 7,000 feet up on a mountain. So if you go into the woods, you don't have all the light pollution and shit. And then you're that much higher. You can like clear nights. You can see like the Milky Way and shit. Like it's a little bit crazy up there for sure.
Have you seen the documentary that came out a couple years ago? It's on Amazon right now. I bought it when it first came out. I think it's just called the Travis Walton story.
It's not the fire. It's not off the Fire in the Sky book.
No, that's the movie, but that came out like the 90s. This came out like probably like 4 years ago. I'll send you the link. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon right now. I bought it on DVD. But it was made, I think, in like 2015 or something, and it's just interviews with him and like 3 or 4 of the other dudes that were involved in it, and everyone still says that it happened
to this day.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's that, to me, that case is like, all right, well, there was like 4 or 5 dudes. I think it's 5. I think in the movie there's only 4, but in reality there's like 5. Here's like 5 people that said this happened. So either they just hid the dude for 5 days and whatever, or something really happened. But that case to me seems like it seems like the most credible, I guess. I don't know.
just as a quick aside, you know, like I don't really watch much like TV, but you know, I do have Netflix and I do have Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is there's such a black hole of like garbage, but awesome garbage.
Right.
Like any B movie, like whether you want to watch like 60s, like Roger Corman biker movies or like shitty B horror movies and like Grindhouse, like sleazy, like fucking whatever 70s movies, like Amazon Prime has all that shit. And it's like, if you look at my suggestions, like what they come up, like, it's like, I'm like, yeah, I do want to watch that. Like, but it's like the weirdest shit. It'll be like a Bigfoot documentary, like 5,000 weird alien shit, like things.
Right.
And then like, you know, Hell's Angel 69 or like some like weird biker movie, you know what I mean? From the 60s. Like, you know, like it's so fucking funny how much like weird shit Amazon Prime has compared to Netflix. Netflix pretty tame compared to it, you know?
The documentary's good though. You should watch it. I haven't seen it in like probably in about 3 years, but when it came out, I bought it and I was like, it's just the fact that all those dudes are still like, yep, this is what happened. Like,
yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. Like you know, who the fuck knows? Like, you know, like in the spectrum of like, if you think about it, and I'm not discounting, no one knows what the fuck happens when you die, right? So, you know, everyone's got you know, not everyone, a lot of people have different religions, and I'm not disrespecting anyone's religious faith or anything, but to me, that whole ancient alien theory is just as credible as anything else.
Yeah,
like, to
why
me,
not?
I'm like, why not? Like some fucking advanced thing came here and fucked around with DNA and made some slaves like to help them build shit for a while, and then like things got out of control, or who the fuck knows? Like whatever. You know what I mean? Like to me, like them fucking around with DNA is just as credible as fucking anything else out there that in the religious sphere.
To me, it seems more credible because I'm like, I'm like, there's probably something that's way more advanced than we are. That's just looking at us like, look at these idiots.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I mean, whether they've come here or not, there's got to be. I'm sure there's something else out there that's more advanced than us. Like whether
there has to be,
not.
I would think. I mean, like to think that we're the most advanced thing that exists is. You know, it's narrow-minded to me. Yeah.
The crazy thing, too, is all the similarities in, like, pyramid design and, like, art and stuff that you see across cultures, like stuff from like, Mayans, like, Mesoamerica, and then stuff you see in, like, India or, like, you know, wherever, even, like, Indonesia or, like, crazy places, like, where there's all, like, these very similar, there's similar architecture to pyramids, there's similar... like, you know, like motifs and whatnot. Whether or not there's any kind of alien interference, it feels like there was some kind of more advanced civilization around, you know, in some time in the past whether it got wiped out or
things
not.
So similar, so far away.
So far away. There was something going on where people were obviously communicating or something. This shit didn't all just emerge randomly, you know, and be so close to each other. Like, but, you know, it's fucking nuts, dude. And that's why the third thing we were talking about with the multidimensional theory, where they're saying, yeah, we can prove that it exists, but it goes backwards. That's the beginning of time travel. You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe there's not even aliens. It's just
somebody coming back.
Us down the line being a little smarter than we are now, going back and to see what was going on fucking all these years ago. Who the fuck knows? We could be stuck in some infinite fucking matrix loop and we don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And we're not even like stoned or on any drugs. And,
right. We just had like a couple Trulies.
See what happens? Like this is a good time for a commercial for Truly. Like it gets you Truly hard seltzer really gets you thinking. Right. So if you know, bust out a black cherry or a raspberry lime and you'd be fucking talking about.
No, are you more of a believer if you were to believe in one thing in like aliens or ghosts?
Aliens.
Yeah.
You know, who the fuck knows? Because, and with ghosts, like, you know, like.
What's your take on mediums? I just threw you a curveball.
No, my take on mediums is that that, you know, whether I don't really believe in that so much. Although, like, I know people that like really wholeheartedly believe in that and think that there are people that can like channel things and whatnot. I don't know. I feel like there's like more to life, that there's an energy involved in life that we don't fully understand. And so maybe there's some residual like residue of that around after, or maybe we're just fucking making us, maybe we think that just to make us feel better about shit. I don't know. I don't know. Like, unfortunately, none of us know until we die. And then we die with something either happens or you're just fucking dead in the dirt with your eyes shut for the forever. You know, I don't know. But, you know, through life, you know, I've kind of bore witness secondhand, but like directly secondhand, not like a friend of a friend. Like, you know, there's been like weird shit like that I've seen, like a good friend of mine who is not into any of this type of shit. Like, he's as straightforward kind of as it comes. Like, someone in his family, they had a kid, and the kid would freak out when you put him in the tub and start talking French. But the kid was like,
that's fucking crazy.
Under like 2 years old, like no way. The kid was born and bred here in New Bedford, Massachusetts, I think. So like would never learn French, but like would freak the fuck out and start like feverishly talking in French when you threw him in the tub. So who knows? Like, maybe there is some weird shit, dude. I don't know. Like, and no one knows. Like, that's the thing, is like, I hate when anyone talks like an absolute, oh, I know this and that. No, you don't, motherfucker. Like, honestly, I'm looking at you. I don't even know if you really fucking exist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Can I prove it? My eye sees it, but like, does that mean that's absolute? I don't fucking know. Who does? You know what I mean? Like, I try and go through life like that. Like, you know, like, I'm not going to believe wholeheartedly in one thing or another, because it's like, how do you really fucking know? You know?
Yeah.
But why do you ask about mediums?
I was just curious, like, between mediums, ghosts. I've experienced like some weird ghost stuff in my life.
Yeah.
Most of it was when I was with one of my exes. Actually, she was like a fucking hotbed. It was just like a lot of weird stuff would happen when I was with her.
Yeah.
And it's like, I never saw anything, but there was like one time in our old place where like a digital camera would not work in our room, but it would work everywhere else. And I like borrowed it from one of the dudes in my band to like take pictures of stuff and like post it online. And I'm like, dude, camera won't work in my room. Like, stand in the hallway, it works. Stand in the room, it won't work. Hallway, it works. Room, it won't work.
Weird. And that's what I mean. There's more to energy than we know about. You know?
One time we were like laying on the couch, and like we both felt something touching us.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like either of us. Like, it was just like something poking us.
Yeah.
And then a lot of weird stuff in hotel rooms. She used to travel with me a lot, and we experienced like a bunch of like random shit in hotel rooms. Like, I never saw like this crazy ghost or anything, but it was just like weird shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wouldn't be drunk or like smoking weed or anything. We'd be like sober, and just like weird shit would happen.
Yeah. Huh.
Mediums, I've had some like some stuff happen. One time when I was really young, actually, in high school, there was a guy came to like our high school on like a Friday night, and you had to like buy tickets to go to it, and a bunch of people went. And this was like before I started playing music, and we're like whole auditorium of people. It was probably like, I'd say like 200 people. And he was a hypnotist, and he was like a psychic apparently.
Yeah.
And he was hypnotizing people on stage that were like from my town and stuff, and they were doing weird shit, like barking like dogs and stuff. So I'm like, I guess that's real. I mean, I couldn't prove it because I don't really know that lady, but whatever. But
you don't know her to be like, you know, to go around and do that. Yeah.
But then he was like doing psychic shit to people, like saying things, and so I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, let's see if this guy is real. And I just kept like thinking, like, talk to me, like in my head, like a fucking moron. I'm like, all right, talk to me. And all of a sudden he's like starts waving his finger, and he points right at me in a room of like 200 people. And he's like, you want to you want me to say stuff to you, don't you? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And he's like, said a couple things. And then he was like, I see you playing music. And then I got like a mullet at the time with like a fucking Anthrax shirt on or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
And he's like, I see you. I was in like probably like ninth grade or something. He's like, I see you playing music, and I see you outdoors in front of a lot of people, and they all know who you are and stuff. He's like, I don't see you being like a megastar or rich, but I see you like doing well with music. That was kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
back then, like looking back on it now, like it's weird. Back then I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But he was kind of spot on. And then I like, my mother had a medium at her house once, and she was like, oh, do you want to come check this out? It's like $40 a person. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went up there. The lady knew nothing about me, and she would like meet with you privately, like one-on-one. And she would like talk to somebody, then talk to somebody else. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to feed into this. I want to see, you know, what she knows. And so she starts talking to me, and immediately she's like, oh, somebody wants to come through to you. And all the stuff she starts saying is like, was my old stepfather who passed away. And like everything she said was like spot on.
Really? Yeah.
It was weird. She was just talking about like, oh, this guy says that he wasn't your real father, but he wants you to know that he thought of you as like like as important as his kids, and he's not worried about you because he knows that you have a good head on your shoulders, and he's really proud of everything you've accomplished in your life, and like he keeps saying he's really proud of everything you've done. I'm assuming it was like band crap or whatever, but it like just everything she said about him was spot on. And then she started saying something about another dude that we had a lot of mutual friends, but I wasn't close with them. But she was like, somebody else wants to talk to you. And then everything she said was like spot on about this dude who had just overdosed. And this is the craziest part about it. She's like, yeah, okay, this kid, he's about your age. He overdosed recently, and he wants to show you his tattoos. And this is something that this kid actually would be like, oh, check out my tattoo, dude. And then she was like, he wants you to tell somebody something. And then she was like, does the names Jeff and Kevin mean anything to you? And when she said that, like this dude that died, his two best friends were named Jeff and Kevin.
Really?
So that was weird. Like it was, and this isn't somebody that I would dwell upon and think about. Like he wasn't somebody close in my life.
Sure.
So when she started saying this shit, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, is she like read obituaries or something?
Yeah,
like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like that's because that's like I'm thinking in my
sure,
mind,
you're
like,
the cynic. Yeah,
but like the shit like she was saying, I was like, all right, this lady like is picking up on some energy or something. Like I don't know if she's really talking to a dead dude or not, but she knows
something,
like, something that this dude was like that he was saying. It was crazy.
Did you tell Jeff and Kevin whatever it was?
I went upstairs, like as soon as she left, I went up, and she was like, basically this dude died of a heroin overdose, and the two other kids, one of them was a heroin addict, and the other one was a super bad drunk. And she was like, he wants you to tell them that they need to stop what they're doing and change, or they're going to end up like him, dead.
Yeah.
So I called both of them. And one of them I called, and he was so hammered. He was like, when I called him, I was like, never mind. And the other dude I called was like kind of can be kind of like a dick sometimes. And I was like, hey, I don't want to freak you out, but do you got a minute? And he's like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, so I told him, I'm like, so I met with this medium, and like, I don't know why, but she said this. And he was just like, wow. And he's like, thank you. Like, he was like, and he was like with the dude when he died and stuff. They were like doing dope together and stuff. Yeah. So it was fucking weird.
Yeah. So no matter what,
I don't know how she picked that up. But
but no matter what, that's not a bad thing, because it could like probably help that dude somehow, you know what I mean? Or whatever, you know, like, but yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot we don't know about the world and what's behind it. And, yeah, I don't know. It's fucking crazy shit, dude. Like, you ever do any psychedelics?
I haven't. No? I'm too afraid.
Yeah.
I'm like too afraid for that shit.
Yeah. So
everyone's like, it opens your mind to the world. And I'm like, I don't want to see any more of the world.
No, it's fucking crazy. I don't do, like, I drink, right? Like socially, like for fun, or doing this shit. Like, and speaking of that, can I grab another one of those?
Yeah.
Just surprise me, whatever it is. Let the world.
I already had that.
Yeah, I had that one. I know the world's telling me to drink more with raspberry lime, but I'm fighting it. All right, I'm going. blueberry acai. But yeah, I don't do any like hard drugs or anything, and or I just don't. I mostly just drink, but I don't drink a lot. You know, it's like used to, but you know, more. It's just more.
Same thing. I've slowed down just because I'm like I like to work more than I like to be hungover and go to work. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Socially, like I haven't drank much in the last 3-4 months because I haven't gone out. Like I don't drink at home, but whatever. But I've experimented with mushrooms a couple times, and I will tell you, dude, I feel like everybody in the fucking world should go on a mushroom. Well, if you're schizophrenic or some shit, I heard that's not good for you. You know what I mean? But barring any, major mental illness, I think everybody in the world should go on at least one mushroom trip. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I've heard that from multiple people.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
I gotta piss one more time.
All right.
These things are killing me.
Obviously, the Trulies go right through you. So while we're doing that, while Mark's away, let's incorporate another one of these things here. So obviously, I just say this shit off the cuff, but if you haven't already, you should check out Omerta. Omerta is a clothing company and a lifestyle. I guess for lack of a better word, a lifestyle company. No, they're a fucking merch and a fucking clothing company. I hate that word, lifestyle company, but these dudes are as real as it gets. They're old friends of mine, and they're about it. And they have a clothing company called Omerta. And if you're unfamiliar with the term, it just basically means code of silence. Like, don't be a rat. Don't just shut your mouth, mind your own fucking business. And that is the theme of this company. So you can check them out at omertamia.com, OMERTAMIA. Again, omertamia.com, or on Instagram as Omertamia and Facebook. They have all kinds of t-shirt designs. A lot of their stuff is actually on American-made apparel, and they screen it by hand themselves. And so you are supporting a lot of American-made stuff there. But you can check them out, again, on omertamia.com or on Instagram and Facebook at omertamia. They got hats, fucking shirts, fucking jackets, art prints. You're still slicking your hair back, they got pomade. But also just use the code Big Truth at checkout and you will get 20% off your order. Again, when you're checking out, ask for a code, just type in Big Truth and you will get 20% off your order. All right, now we're back. I'm not being the douchey dude that interrupts and just puts commercials in the middle of the podcast and interrupts.
Yeah, I have the bladder of an old woman, so.
Yeah, so we're just catering to Mark's aged feminine bladder.
Right. Back to the whole psychic thing, though. Like, I will say I have also talked to, like, some and been like, you're complete full of shit.
Oh, so, yeah. There's always the fucking garbage people that just try and take advantage of things.
One other, this was probably the craziest one I ever had. This guy was actually my old accountant. He was a teacher at Berkeley, and he had retired. And,
Berkeley, the music college?
Music school,
yeah. Okay, I didn't know if you meant
wicked cool dude. And somebody had told me about him, like, that dude's your accountant? I'm like, yeah, like, he like sees dead people. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're like, dude. And this kid had told me a story how somebody in his class, it was actually my bass player's ex-girlfriend was in this dude's class. And one time he's sitting in class and he points this kid at his desk and he's like, what's up with that dog under your desk? The kid's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, a dog, golden retriever, your uncle's golden retriever that got hit by the car. You know that dog follows you everywhere you go? And like, I guess the girl said that he just like stood up, started crying and like left the class. Huh. And so I was going to do my taxes like shortly after this. So when I got there, I was sitting down with him. We did our stuff and I was like, so Martin, tell me what's up. I'm like, I heard you're psychic. And he starts laughing. He's like, oh, what'd you hear? And I was like, I told him the story about the kid and the dog, and he started laughing. He goes, that dude never came back to class. He like never came back. And I was like, so what's up? Like, you're psychic? And he's like, a little bit, but more so I just see things that aren't here anymore. And I was like, you being serious? He's like, yeah, pretty much. And this guy doesn't do it for a living. Yeah, he's an accountant, and he used to be a teacher. He doesn't like go out and try to make money doing psychic or medium stuff. And I was like, so like, tell me about it. And he's like, what do you want to know? And I'm like, what the fuck's up? Is it like, you're basically saying you're the dude in the kid in the Sixth Sense? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, when people are dead, do they look the same as they did when they were alive? Or do they look like they, like, fucking, if they got hit by the car, are they mangled? And he's like, it's different all the time. And I was just like, asking him a bunch of questions. I'm like, since you were a kid? He's like, yeah, it was. He's like, it was stronger when I was a kid. It's not as much now, but it still happens and blah, blah, blah. So after that, I was like, all right, so what's up with me? And he's like, who do I have? Like, and he looks at me, he started laughing. He's like, you don't have anybody. He's like, there's nobody with you. And he's like, basically giggled about it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I left. Then, like, I would talk to him a couple of times a year about taxes. Next year, I go back to do my taxes, and we did our shit. I was like, so you got anything for me this year? And he's like, well, yeah. And he's like looking at me, and he's like, somebody in your family, like somebody close in your family just died. And he starts like rubbing his chest, like, and he's like, I can feel it in here. It was painful. It was lung cancer, I think. It's pretty new. They just died. And he's like, I see like really blue eyes, whoever this is. And I was like, I don't know anybody that even has cancer. And he's like, really? He's like, well, I don't know. He's like, I'm telling you. He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting you confused with somebody else, but he's like, somebody just passed and they were in a lot of pain and they had blue eyes. And I see somebody with long black hair. I don't know what the significance of that is, but I see long black hair. And I was like, okay. I go home. I was living at my mom's house at the time. Next morning, I wake up. I come upstairs. My mom's bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, my mother was just diagnosed with lung cancer. She has 2 days to live. And I was like, whoa.
Ooh.
Like, I was like, okay.
Did she have blue eyes?
Yep.
Oh.
I waited. I asked her, like, she literally fucking died like a day after this guy told me this. I called him when my mother told me that she was going to die. I was like, yo, he's like, what's up? Did I forget something about your like taxes? I'm like, no. I'm like, remember that thing you told me about the person who died of lung cancer? Like that, he was like, it just happened. It just happened. And he's like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, well, nobody knew this because like I didn't say anything about anybody in my family. Like nobody knew my grandmother was sick. She just went to the hospital. Like pretty much the day I was with this dude, she like went to the hospital. And this is like the next town over too, which is even weirder.
Yeah. I'm
like, she went to the hospital yesterday. They said she's completely filled with cancer. They're not doing anything for her. And they said that she's got like 2 days to live. And he was like, oh. And he's like, well, he's like, she's pretty much already gone. That's probably why I picked up on it. I was like, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Thanks,
like,
dude.
Thanks, like, dude. Literally after that, I was like, if that guy ever told me to like not get on an airplane, I would not get
Yeah.
Because he wasn't like trying to make any money from
me.
It's just
not,
the shit he said. It was like, it was fucking crazy.
That's what I mean. Is I don't know.
It was crazy.
I'm not like on the for or against camp. I just know that basic human nature. There's a lot of fucking shitty people that try and capitalize off some shit like that. But then you hear stories like that, and it's like, all right,
yeah, I'm like,
maybe
he wasn't trying to make any money off me, and it was,
and he wasn't telling you. You asked him,
right? Yeah,
and then he just like, well,
he wasn't even fishing. Like I was like, tell me shit. And he's like, oh, whatever, okay, fine. Yeah. And he's like, all right,
like you were bothering him to, type of thing.
And he was like, yeah, somebody that you know just died of lung cancer. Like, and I waited literally. The funeral was like fucking 6 days later. And I told my mother about it that day. I was like, I didn't tell you this because it was kind of weird, but check this out. And I told her. And she was like, holy fuck. And then I was like, what color eyes did your mother have? And she's like, blue. And I was like, fucking my mind's blown right now.
Yeah. Oh, so you didn't know her?
I mean, I knew her, but I didn't know what color her eyes were. I'm just like, I don't have a memory like that.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm like, what color eyes did your mother have? She's like, blue. I was like, that's fucking creepy.
That is fucking weird. Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit in the world, dude. And that's what makes shit cool, man. I think because, there's a lot of unexplainable things out there. And, it's someone's job to try and explain it, and whether they will or they won't, and who knows,
right. The next 5 or 10 years, it will be interesting with the space thing.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It's crazy because it's such a big undertaking. obviously it's a big undertaking for us to get out there, or for a private company to get out there, or for government to get out there.
Do they own the place?
But once you get out there, like, can you just claim shit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
like,
what I don't get.
If you get there and you're like, I'm here now. It's mine.
It's mine. Like if Elon Musk is the first dude, like with SpaceX is the first person, like gets the first person onto Mars, can they just say, all right, Mars is ours?
Can the U.S. government say it Mars ours? Because like, what's to say that like Russia can't say fuck you? It's ours.
Yeah, that's what I mean. and but that's what I mean is it's more different. It's different now because it's not just the realm of governments anymore. Now it's like private companies. They can say, all right, we landed on this asteroid and it has a bunch of these minerals on it. It's all ours. I don't know. This is
crazy.
Uncharted territory that I don't know if anyone's kind of like, if I'm sure there's going to be some kind of, given the crazy bureaucracy of our government and world governments, there's got to be something kind of in place for this type of stuff. And if there's not, they better start getting on. They better start thinking about this shit.
Somebody's got to be thinking of that.
I mean, and for Trump and all his funniness, like, and I don't think he's the first person to propose the Space Force, but, like I think he kind of projected it, made it a little bit bigger or brought it out to the public with the saying of it. But like, that's not a total stupid idea. Like there needs to be some shit for like a wing of the military for when that's forward thinking. Like whether it was him that brought it up or not, that's like, there's got to be something for out there when, if private companies are starting to go out there, they're going to be, I think they're going to move things along quicker. Our military
will probably take the planet from
Yeah, no. But I mean, just like, our government's got so much to deal with. I don't think they're thinking about space the way they were in the 60s or whatever. Mm-hmm. So if private companies are doing it, I think things are going to move along faster now that someone's done it. Because there's going to be other companies that want to like outdo them or beat them to whatever it is, whatever the prize is out there.
Has a private company gone there, like gone to space yet, or is it?
Yeah, SpaceX just a couple weeks ago, like successfully launched into space, like the first private company.
And what are they doing out there?
I think they just went out and came back. I don't even know if they came back. I just know they went out there, like you know what I mean, and successfully launched a living person out into space, like. That's why I just can't, I'm like, fuck, I'm 48. Like, I wish I was like 20 now because I know that space travel in the next 30 years is going to be more attainable. I want to be able to fucking leave the earth at like at least once, you know what I mean? And I don't know if I'll be able to afford it, and the longer things are around, the cheaper it gets. Like, I'm just like hoping that like it's like affordable within my lifetime. Or I just do some shit like where like all of a sudden fucking old choppers are like wicked sought after and we just become rich off of old choppers, which I highly doubt, but you know what I mean? Just dumb shit. But this truly just goes down way too easy, dude.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Especially after a couple of Tito's and Gatorades, the even Steven of drinks. But yeah, dude, like I have not had any kind of psychic events like that where I've ever talked to a psychic. So I don't know, like, and I don't say yes or no or like, yes, I believe or no, I don't believe in anything because I
there's like the psychics that claim to solve cases and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
that's retarded.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's so ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, maybe there are some. I just like to try and keep an open mind about shit because I feel like there's a lot out there that we can't explain, and there's a lot more to the world than we know than what's right in front of your face. The shit that freaks me out is when people start talking about like the whole not Matrix, but like this world's like a simulation shit. You ever hear about any of that
just
stuff?
recently, yeah. And they're saying, I just saw something the other day.
Like there's more evidence that this is a simulation than not. And I'm like, fuck that. I don't
something like the other day saying that like they think sometime in like the not so distant future, if like you die, they're going to be able to like put your memory in a microchip.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Like who wants to see what it's somebody's like in somebody's head? It's like, you know what I mean? There's probably a bunch of people with some sketchy shit going on. Yeah.
Like,
whoa, grandpa was a fucking loser. Like he's like a racist and he cheated on mom all the time.
Or he's just a creep. There's gonna be a lot of creep factor going up.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit. Yeah.
It's like Black Mirror.
Yeah. Well, the thing is do you ever watch that show?
I have watched a few episodes. Yeah.
I've watched a few episodes. I find it's like super depressing. Like it's not like fun. It's fun to watch, but not fun to watch. I'm like, when something leaves you feeling all like weird and shitty, I'm like,
Right.
But yeah, man, I think, and I always hope, I think it leaves you weird and shitty because you're like, this is a possibility of something that can really happen. Did you see? I saw the one where people could erase their memories.
Yes. Yep.
And that one was like pretty fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you could choose to just totally forget someone or forget something and stuff. And I was like, and I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot of stuff in the works for that. And I know like, not to keep bringing up Elon Musk, but he has that neural net kind of going on. Like they're studying that, like where they want to put a chip in your brain that like connects you to online type of thing.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Like, so you don't have to like type in anything. You just like think about shit and like everything
That's the
comes
thing.
up.
If you think about like what is like computers and cell phones going to be in 20 years? Because like if you think about 20 years ago, I had like the flip phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
Was that even 20 years? That might have even been like 15 years ago.
Exactly. So what's in 20 years? Like what is like, are we even going to have a phone?
I had a flip phone.
Or are we just going to like hold your hand out and like something appears over your hand and it's like, I don't know. It's fucking
Well,
crazy.
it's not even that. It's going to be all in your head. Like you can just think about it and see it, or who knows, like augmented reality. Who fucking knows, dude? Like and that's like stuff I wish I had more time to like devote to like researching and read about and make smart investments.
Right.
Not that I have a lot of money to throw around into investments, but like, damn, dude, if you can think about what the next big thing would be and get in on the ground floor, there you go. Anyone that calls in or texts or emails bigtruthpodcast@gmail.com and tells us what the next big thing is, I'll send you a prize pack. There's the contest for this episode. But yeah, dude, I've never had any psychic events. The weirdest shit I ever had to me, it's weird. It's weird to share, but it's not. I had. You ever have sleep paralysis?
I haven't, but I've heard people talk about it before. But yeah, I've never had that.
Yeah, this is like. All right, so this is like weird shit. Like, and this is me 100% just probably drawing shit together that doesn't really go together, but just weird coincidences. I used to live in Andrews Square, Dorchester for a decade or so, right off of Boston Street, Dorchester Ave, and all that. It was on the border of Dorchester and South Boston, and we lived in this apartment, and it was a third floor apartment. And I remember one night I had sleep paralysis, and it fucking freaked me out. Like I woke up, and I was sleeping, but I was like on my side facing the wall. And I could not move literally for like, it was probably only like 10 or 15 seconds, but it felt like minutes. Like, cause I can't imagine what it's like to really be a paraplegic or really be paralyzed. Cause I was paralyzed where I couldn't move for like seconds and it felt like eternity. And then in my head, all I kept thinking is, fuck, they're behind me. They're behind me. And I was like, I don't know what they are.
Right.
But that's all I was thinking about. I was like, they're fucking behind me and I can't move. And I broke out of it and it like literally freaked me out so bad. I called like hospitals and shit the next day and said, hey, like I had like paralysis in the middle of the night, this and that. I didn't even know the term sleep paralysis at that point. Never heard that. And they called around and then I realized like how fucking insane it sounded. So I just was like, whatever, I'll just fucking deal with it. Like, dude, like whatever. It was just a glitch in my fucking brain, whatever. And then, but literally like weird shit, like right around all that time frame happened. I had sleep paralysis when literally the same week I went out onto my porch. And the reason why I was kind of given so much background about where I lived is like, I lived in Dorchester. It's like suburb, like not a suburb, a borough of Boston. Like, it's fucking crazy. I walk out on the porch and it's literally as far as me to you right now. We're sitting on opposite sides of the counter here at the shop. Like there was a big fucking white owl sitting there on this tree branch, like on my deck on third floor. And I walked out and it didn't fly away. It just fucking stared at me.
That's crazy.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm like, and then it was like almost like a showdown, like who the fuck's going to leave first?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then like literally I was just like, all right. And I just kind of fucking walked backwards back into the house and shit. Like, and then like, and this is around the time that fucking movie came out that was like tying white owls to aliens. Like I saw that not too long after and I was like, what the fuck's going on, dude? Like, you know what I mean? And, you know, I'm not trying to tie anything together because like, whatever. I know it's just, could just be weird fucking circumstances or whatever you call it, like chance or whatever. But like, that was like the weirdest shit that ever happened to me. And it was all like in like this one time frame. And so I was like, damn, dude, what was it called? Did you see, you know the movie I'm talking about? It was like,
I don't.
I think it was called, I got to look it up. But it's like one of those movies where it's like a Hollywood movie, but in the movie they had this other footage where it looked like a documentary, but even that was faked, but they didn't tell anybody.
Okay.
So everyone thought it was like, and it was based on a true story, but
but they shot the other footage.
But they shot the other footage too, so it was like a mind fuck, like, you know what I mean? And they didn't tell you to the end, and it was like, oh yeah, they didn't even really tell you. It was in like in the credits or something, like all of it was like fake, you know what I mean? But it tied white owls and all that shit into it, and I was like, all right, that's some weird fucked up shit. Neither here nor there, and I'm not trying to make anything out of it, but it was just like, that was the weirdest shit that ever happened to me. I've never had anybody give me any psychic shit.
I can give you the number of the lady that
No, I don't want to call. I don't want to know if anyone's hanging around, like fucking looming around me.
the accountant. I can give you his number. That's the guy that doesn't even do it for work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like,
Is he still your accountant?
no, he retired. I call him every once in a while though. He's a cool dude. I'll just be like, hey, how's it going? He's like, oh, not too bad. He's like, I'm living on the Cape now, like divorced, just hanging out. Like,
What a weird life to you're like a psychic, but also like a Berkeley College of music teacher,
Yeah.
and then also an accountant.
I think he taught business,
like music business stuff.
music business at Berkeley.
Okay.
And that's kind of why I went to him because I needed somebody to do the taxes for the band. So
Okay, that
somebody
makes sense.
told me about it. I think it was like Big D in the kids table actually that told me about him. So he knows obviously how to do taxes and he understands like band stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
He used
No,
to,
that's
like,
important,
He played
yeah.
in a band, yeah. So he like years ago, so he knew like the right deductions and this
Sure.
and that. So
And this is just as an aside and a life lesson for anyone listening. Like, you need to find an accountant that kind of knows your industry to get the maximum kind of benefit
Right.
of paying an accountant. You know what I mean? You know, or you know, just because like there's so many weird tax laws. And I'm pausing for a second because I don't want to say anything else.
right, yeah, no. Whenever I do
Yeah,
mine, like
yeah.
I'm always like at the end, I'm like, okay, so that happened. All right,
Yeah, fuck.
not what I thought, but okay, cool, for better or for worse.
Yeah. And then you realize how much of your income just goes away. And it's like, that's months of work that just
Yeah.
went away.
My wife makes a good amount of money working online, and half of it I don't even understand. She has a YouTube channel, and she's got a lot of subscribers. She's got like 160,000 subscribers. So she makes money daily just from people watching her videos.
Yeah.
It might be like $80 or $100, but that's just, for videos that are posted. And she posts like financial things, like stuff about making money on the internet and stuff. And it's all in Spanish because she's from Spain. And, but she also like would sell like online, like courses on how to make money and stuff.
Yeah.
And, she would make money per course sold and stuff. And she had a really good year. And she had to pay like a fuckload in taxes. It was insane. Like basically we had to pay a bunch of money this year and it was all because of hers. Like
Yeah.
I had a bunch of write-offs. He was able to like counter most of mine, but she didn't have that many because there's not much you can write off with just doing stuff online.
Sure. Yeah. There's not a lot of overhead.
And she's European too. So she's like, what the fuck? These like, why am I giving all this money back?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then insurance is a whole nother deal.
Sure.
They don't have insurance over, like they don't have to pay for insurance over there. So, but yeah, no, it's amazing. Like just what they'll take back from you when you make it. Yeah.
See, and that's the difference between, and I'm not saying anything, but if you just work a regular 9-to-5 job and the taxes are taken out and stuff, it's like it goes and you don't, not everyone thinks about it as much because they just look at their check. All right,
Right.
this is what I made this week. but you don't see what you would have made had those taxes not been taken out. And I'm not saying you don't need to pay taxes. Like, yeah, everyone should pay taxes to support certain things, but I think the tax rate is getting a little out of control. Like,
Right.
And then especially when you're a small business, because you're taxed on all kinds of fucking crazy shit. And I don't know, dude. It's just fucking insanity. It's like, all right, say you gross whatever. And then, literally a third, 33% goes to federal income tax.
Right.
But then state tax.
Yeah.
And then you got property tax and you got excise tax and you got fucking this tax and that tax. And then you don't even get into taxes. Now you get into registrations and licenses, which is just fucking taxes with different names.
Right.
And it's at the end of the day, it's like, I might as well live in like a fucking communist state or a socialist fucking state. I'm paying the same fucking amount as I fucking would, but I'm not getting any of those benefits. Like, and I'm whatever. Like, I'm not backing any fucking... I'm pretty libertarian when it comes down to it, other than some of the fucking free trade stuff. But neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, like, it's fucking crazy, dude. Like, the amount of taxes that the middle class fucking pays. Like,
Yeah.
Our backs are being fucking broken, dude. Like, and it's like, and it's incrementally. It's not all at once, so you don't think about it as much, And it's like fucking insanity, dude. Like, the worst things are like excise tax on vehicles. Like, you're paying tax on shit you've already been fucking taxed for. Like, I paid my sales tax on it. Now I got to pay a yearly tax for keep fucking having it.
Have it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck? And then people are like, well, that's what goes to fucking pave the roads. And I'm like, well, what do my property taxes go to? Like, like, I don't have kids. I don't have any kids in school. And I'm not like, like, I got to pay for my own town garbage bags. Like, you know what I mean? So the only thing I use from the town besides paved roads is like fucking, I have a well, so I don't have have city water or sewage. Like, I got a septic tank, you know what I mean? I'm pretty fucking, I'm not off the grid, but you know what I mean? Like, what am I paying for? Like I don't feel like I'm getting a good return on my investment when
Right.
in the state, federal, or local government, and I don't know. We're getting on a whole new weird turn here. Like, I'd rather talk about UFOs, to be honest with you, and I think other people would rather us talk about that. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, fucking, we could go on and on. But yeah, I do encourage everyone to do fucking psychedelic drugs. Like, you will see. Do you want to hear about this, or do you
Sure.
want to hear this? All right, I tried DMT and not much happened the first couple times. I think DMT, you have to really get dialed in and have good DMT and know how to do it. But one time I did kind of go someplace else but that's neither here nor there. The fucking, the mushroom. Now, it's a natural, to me, if something grows from the earth, I'm not getting hippy dippy on you.
Right.
I see like the smirk, like I'm like,
here we go.
Here we go. No. But if something grows from the earth, like I don't mind like weed or like mushrooms and shit like that. Like, I'm not down with like fucking heroin or fucking shit that like fucks people's lives up. You know what I mean? Or like pills and shit. Like, it's just not me. Everyone has their own thing. Do whatever you want to do. I don't give a shit. Like, don't make me pay for it. You know what I mean? But what I will say is that I took mushrooms twice, and you fucking go places, dude, and you see, like, literally. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I'll get into the whole thing sometime, but not right now. But I felt like I was seeing the reality behind reality.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, like when you look at a TV, it's just like a bunch of pixels and shit, or like your computer monitor, it's a bunch of pixels. Like, I felt like reality was like in front of my face, but I was seeing the things that were behind it and projecting it out. Like the structure, the infrastructure behind reality. It was fucking nuts, dude. That's all I'm going to say. Everyone should do it at least once, I think. Like, I mean, again, unless you have like some like truly
Wait, we have
serious
Truly's?
mental issue. Truly hard seltzer is not going to get us to the place that psilocybin mushrooms will get you. But that said, I know I'm going to get a lot of fucking people fucking with me about the white owl and all that shit.
Right?
Just as you're going to get people fucking with you about the psychic shit.
Yeah, probably.
But you know what? Hey, at the end of the day, the world's a mysterious place, and that's what makes shit interesting.
Yeah.
There's shit out there that no one can fucking explain. Like,
No, absolutely.
No
Some
one
of the
can
stuff
explain.
that I experienced, I was like, what? That's no explanation for this.
yeah. Like I'm not, I've never been into the psychic stuff, but I know a lot of people who have like that, like have had like serious experiences like yourself that swear by it, like that there is a realness to it. I just, and I don't discount it or anything. I just have never sought that out or been around it or seen it. So, so I don't know one way or the other, but when you say something like that, like I'm like, you got nothing to gain from that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the people that told you should have nothing to gain from it. So to me,
that's the thing. Like I've gone places and given people money, like, oh, $20 for this, and I've left and been like, that was fucking pointless.
stupid. Yeah. Madam something's
Yeah.
like whatever.
But then
if there's like a hand and in neon letters and shit, like it's probably not legit. But
one story I heard, which was like from two people I know really well. One dude's from Connecticut. One dude's they're both from Connecticut. One dude lived in Boston for a long time. They both moved out to Oregon, and they lived in this house. And one of them, one time, we were on tour actually. He had moved to a new place, and we were staying with him. And he's like, "You ever hear about my old place?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Dude, this is true. I swear to God." They're like, "Ask Zach about it." There was a murder that happened in our place, and some of the people that live at the house witness the murder, like in audio, sometimes when they're home alone. And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" They're like, and the kid that told me, he's like, "I've never witnessed it." He's like, I feel like it's bullshit, but like Zach's not a liar. And these other people, they say like a couple of people had been home alone and they would hear like a girl being attacked and like beaten and her screaming for her life and her dying and like hear her dying.
yeah, that's crazy.
Like as they're home alone, like sitting in their room. Like,
Wow,
I'm
yeah.
like, that's fucking wild. I'm like, I don't know if I believe that. I'm like, but two people I know that pretty well told me it. So I'm like, I guess I believe it.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. There's like residual. There's like
That's the thing. Is it
to
energy? Is it like this weird? Yeah.
There's weird shit, like and there's more going on in the world than we can explain at this time. That doesn't mean that there's not science behind everything. It's just the world's got a lot going on, and not everyone's everyone's caught up in COVID and fucking riots. Like people aren't thinking about exploring the other weird shit. That's why I want to get more into that shit too on this podcast.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, dude. You know what started me on that, and I'll show you these later. When I was a kid, and this is what actually I think got me into anthropology. I had a couple, and I think I boosted them. Like, to be honest with you, I think I boosted them off a bookmobile. Do you remember did you ever have a bookmobile? Mm-hmm. Like when we were kids, like, like in the summer, like the bookmobile would come to your town, and you usually went into it because you needed a little break from the sun, and it was like cold and like air conditioned in there. But the bookmobile was basically this, basically, for lack of a better word, like a Sprinter van that came around, and you could go in, and it was like a little library, and you could take books out from the bookmobile, and I got these fucking. I think I got them from there. I had only a few volumes of it, but there was a thing called Man, Myth, and Legends, and it came out in the 70s, and it was like an encyclopedia, and it was all weird shit. And I remember getting
Was that like the Time Life thing?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
So I am going to show you in a second. I literally like relived my youth. I bought the whole fucking collection.
Nice.
I have it
They're
literally.
like the black books.
Yeah, I got it right here,
those.
dude. Right
That's
here.
Awesome.
And I don't know what, but like when I was a kid, I saw a couple of those, and it just made me fucking get into like all kinds of weird shit. Like when I was a kid,
I remember those.
Yeah, dude. I got this box literally right behind me is like
Yeah,
all
it was
fucking
like
volumes. I bought.
yeah, there's like a bunch of them.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I bought the whole volume. Like
How many is there?
I'll tell you in 1 second.
I remember there was like a psychic one. I had one of them randomly that I found at like a yard sale or something.
There are 24 of them.
Holy shit.
But, before the internet, there was encyclopedias.
Right.
Right? And that's how you learn about shit. But this was the encyclopedia of like the fucking weird and bizarre. And I bought them, one, just so I could kind of be like, remember the shit from when I was a kid. But two, like, there's good fucking shit in there for like image transfer paint jobs and like weird shit, like in like tattoo art reference and whatnot. So I picked them up for that too. And it's cool just to have like hard books about shit. But dude, we covered a lot, and we're getting into weird areas.
People like, all right, I'm tired.
Yeah. Anything that we haven't touched on that you think's important, dude? We've talked about a lot of different shit like music and life and fucking weird shit.
I think we're good.
All right, man. So. Well, if people want to find out more about Unseen or Ashers or Tenebrae, is there any or yourself like any websites or?
I don't think so. Like my Instagram, I don't even know what it is though. It's let me see. Yeah, we don't have like an actual website, or I mean, we did at one point. But
too punk rock for a website.
Yeah, right. I guess so.
I'm just fucking with you. I'm looking for. What is your Instagram name?
It is.
It's just Mark
underscore unseen.
Yeah.
And it's basically just like stupid memes that I post and
funny shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, check them out. And Unseen may or may not be playing someplace near you.
Yep. We were supposed to play. We're gonna have a big year. We're gonna play like 3 shows, but they got canceled. We're gonna do punk rock bowling in Vegas. Then we had a festival in Denver booked, and we were about to book something in California, but then everything fell apart. So we'll probably play next year.
2021. Look for a return, and maybe a new 7-inch.
Yep. Yeah. There's a good possibility of us doing a 7-inch. I think so.
Fuck yeah, man.
Something. Yeah. It's been over 10 years, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
My whole thing, though, I said that was like, I want to release some duds. Like, it's been so long, you know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna record, it's gonna be decent.
Yeah. Oh no, fuck yeah, dude. And that's the thing is like, but it's like anything, dude. Like, it's like picking up a bike. Like if you can get right back into it. But more importantly, I think, and this touches on something you talked about earlier, like. I feel like there's going to be a resurgence of like super like punk rock shit coming up because like something like we haven't seen since the 80s. Like as far as like political punk rock
people
stuff
have plenty
comes,
to be pissed about. And
there's a lot fucking going on in the world right now. And whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump or whoever's next, there's just a lot fucking going on in the world. And punk rock and hardcore and metal and stuff has always been kind of like voice of the streets and hip hop, and so I feel like there's going to be a good resurgence in music that like has like content that matters. There's been a lot of fucking just whatever the last.
Right. No, I agree.
I think the world's ripe for another, like, even I kind of mentioned it the last time, like, as like, like whatever they were, like Dead Kennedys and stuff, like they had a lot of political commentary that still like lasts to this day, dude.
Right.
And on top of being like excellent musicians, like way better musicians than punk rock like should have been, should be like, they had like interesting like things like Bleed for Me is like fucking perfect. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot of shit that's like perfect that they did. And that they never recreated with Jello, and Jello never without Jello. I mean, and that Jello never recreated without them. Like they should just, I don't know what their issues are, and it's not my business. But I feel like they should get over it and just fucking do some shit because like we need something like them. But yeah, man, fuck yeah, dude. This was a good talk. We went all over the place, which is always a sign of a good episode. We're almost at a fucking 3 hours right here. I gotta take a piss as well, but I can't. I did some of the commercials for not the commercials, but I shouted out some of the sponsors while you were gone. I just got to do 2 more and while you're here, and then we'll wrap up. But I already told you about Chop Cult. I've already told you about Omerta. I do need to tell you about Pitchfork. Pitchfork is a clothing company and also a record label out of New York City, and you can check them out at pitchforkny.com. They're a long running clothing line and geared towards the hardcore and punk rock scene. And he's also a record label that releases split 7 inches and on collectible vinyl. And they always feature one East Coast band and one West Coast band. And, for example, there was a Murphy's Law and Rancid split 7 inch. There's a Sick of It All and the Eulogy split 7 inch. And right now the newest one is No Redeeming Social Value and Thug Riot from Arizona. And so check them out. pitchforkny.com online, also on Instagram and Facebook and all that, just at Pitchfork New York. Also, you can go to thebigtruthpodcast.com and check out the website and listen to all the episodes and click around. We'll have a store online soon with some packages, and then if you didn't win a prize package by contributing, you can also buy different promo packages, mystery boxes, if you will. That's coming soon. I'm just giving you an exclusive here and unleashing that on this episode. So keep an eye peeled on bigtruthpodcast.com. You can follow me at Big Truth on Instagram, and check out chopahead.com. Which is my motorcycle shop. We're a full-service shop, which means we'll do anything from an oil change to building you a full-service bike and everything that falls in between that. We also have a showroom and a parts counter, and we're set up with pretty much anyone. So if there's a part you need and we don't have it on our website, just give us a call or shoot us an email and we can get it for you, or we can make it. Again, it's www.chopahead.com. On Instagram, just at chopahead, spelled in the most masshole of ways, which is CHOPPAHEAD.com. Facebook, we were Chopahead Customs, customs with a K, because we just want to make things more difficult for finding us. We also, outside of some parts, we manufacture Kevlar lined gloves that are all made in America, which means the gloves are manufactured in the United States, made out of very the highest leather, deerskin leather, with the highest level Kevlar that we could have in there without it being too stiff. And these will help you if by any chance you have the bad fortune of going down on your bike. It'll help you save your palms a little bit. The undersides are all lined with Kevlar. We manufacture some parts. We do service, repair, custom builds, anything you need. Give us a call, 508-995-6764, or check us out at chopahead.com, or come by 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts. That's about it. I want to thank you for tuning in today. Mark, anything to add before we wrap up here?
No, thank you for having me, and best of luck with this.
Yeah,
I look forward to hearing to the future guests.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for doing some guest vocals on the War Machine record.
Thank you.
We'll get up on some new shit soon. Thank you.